Can you run like Trey Turner? Show off your speedy skills during Nemours Children's Health Kids Run the Bases on Thursday, June 22nd, after the Phils take on the Braves at 1:05. Order tickets now at Phillies.com.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, Costco members have a $2,500 incentive on the purchase or lease of an electric Volvo. There is a $1,000 incentive on all gas and hybrid 2023 models. Explore this safe and versatile 2023 XC90 and take advantage of special financing, a rate of under 5%. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo for a full list of extraordinary offers for both new and previously owned Cherry Hill Volvos. Visit us now. We have the inventory and we have competitive offers.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Hi, I'm Mark Luca, president of Aqua Pennsylvania. Aqua wants to help you avoid costly and unsafe sewer backups. Don't flush disinfectant or other hygiene wipes down the toilet. Even flushable wipes can cause backups in household plumbing and larger blockages in wastewater collection systems. Dispose of all wipes in the trash instead. Also, don't flush tissues, napkins, or paper towels, which can also contribute to clogs in pipes. Aqua Pennsylvania, an Essential Utilities company.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on this Wednesday, May 31st. It is indeed Kayal Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app and streaming for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube. As we head until 10 o'clock this morning, 855-839-1210, the phone number. Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. I am at Nick Kayal, K-A-Y-A-L. Dawn Stensland with the news. Greg Stocker is the chairman of the board. Daniel Valdez, Anthony, Tiny Tim DiRenzo, the associate producers. On a Wednesday in which we will have our man Tony Bruno with us coming up at 8:20 this morning as we put a bow on the month of May. Dawn, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Doing great this Wednesday morning.
Gregory?
Yeah, buddy.
Fired up?
Fired up.
All right.
Ready to go. It's 6:03.
That's right. Because we start at 6 a.m., as somebody once famously said
We do.
on this show. So many good things to delve into this morning. We've got women in media and women in sports media attacking each other. One lady decides to write a column in the USA Today and attack an ESPN female that is a conservative and says, you know what, I think you're a bigot. We're going to get into that this morning.
Woman-on-woman violence.
That's correct. ESPN on ESPN crime.
Verbal violence.
This is exactly what we talked about yesterday. Eventually, the woke go after their own.
Yeah.
Except they might have made a miscalculation.
Shocking.
We'll get to that story as we continue. COVID fallout. Basically, everything that you ever did during the pandemic was wrong. We'll get to that story. The disrespect for Marines is unreal. And also some teaching stories, both statewide and locally here in Philadelphia, and a school bus driver that goes postal in our listening area.
Another one?
Don't
Yes.
go.
What?
Yeah, another woman bus driver.
Uh-oh.
Don't go.
You hear me?
Oh, we
That's
hear you.
right.
Get the duct tape out
Oh, my goodness.
and tie little Johnny to his seat.
You know what? The little duct tape never hurt anybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Just what I'm saying.
Oh my
I should have.
gosh.
I should have been duct taped when I was riding a school bus.
Some say you should be duct taped right now.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
So we got so many good things to delve into this morning. But before we get to all of that, let's get to Dawn Stenslin, 6:05 Wednesday morning, and it's time for round one of the news.
Yeah, and good morning this Wednesday, last day of May, May 31st, 53 degrees right now. I'll tell you how much we will heat up, and we're heating up today, and that's just the beginning. Wait till you hear the forecast for Friday. So an incredible story that's unfolding, and this is in the suburbs. A woman charged with murder, accused of shooting and killing her husband at a waterfront park. This is in Bucks County yesterday. Bristol Borough Police say they responded to the Bristol Borough Wharf on Mill Street there in Bristol, Pennsylvania, yesterday morning of reports of a shooting. So the police officers arrived there at the park, which there were a lot of people. It was a beautiful morning yesterday. Before 11 a.m., they found 40-year-old Samar Khan of Levittown with blood all over her clothing, and they say that she had killed her husband, 38-year-old Faisal Iqbal, in a grassy area near the parking lot. So they say that according to witnesses, surveillance video, that she had shot her husband twice in the torso and then stood over him, allegedly shooting him in the head a third time. And he was pronounced dead at the scene. So witnesses telling police how shocking this was. There was some kind of a loud argument, and then they heard the popping sounds. So witnesses calling 911 and police officers making that arrest in a beautiful Bucks County park just yesterday morning.
Nothing like executing your spouse in broad daylight at a waterfront area. Boy, jeez almighty.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Philadelphia police arresting 2 teens, and then a third is still out there, still trying to catch the third teenager after they reportedly crashed a stolen car, according to police, into a building last night. So they say the suspects crashed that stolen Hyundai with officers hot on their trail. The teenagers, 15 years old, 17 years old, they were caught by officers right near the scene of in the city's Wissinoming section. Also, of these 15 and 17-year-olds, 2 guns recovered, according to Philadelphia police. So police say one was dumped by a suspect in the street. The other was found in the backseat of the stolen car. Moving forward, we can't even talk about all the teens gone wild in this particular newscast. We've got teens yesterday, and there are still some on the loose, breaking into yesterday morning a Bucks County gun shop. Didn't get too far, but they got away with a lot of guns. Yes, Greg,
See if they were duct taped on a bus,
Yes,
they wouldn't be running amok.
or duct taped into the back of that Hyundai that was stolen.
My goodness.
Which doesn't that go back to the story we talked about how Kias and Hyundais are the most frequently stolen vehicles? There's something about those two brands. I'm not sure what it is, but they always seem to be in like the grand theft stories.
I know. It's true. Well, there was something with the computer. I know they've issued some recalls and they're working on that. But also, I think it's a crime of opportunity. I think that those are just those are popular vehicles.
Yeah.
They're going to take what they can take.
That's true.
And then they use it. That's the problem. The police always tell us. They use these stolen vehicles in commission of another crime.
That's correct.
Yeah. So that's basically what was going on yesterday in Bucks County. Stolen car from Philadelphia goes to Bucks County. They have 3 of those teens in custody and looking for 2 others. And they're doing the inventory, but on that one, it appears they were able to get back all the guns that were stolen from that building. And then moving forward, we'll talk about down the shore, Ocean City cracking down, shortening those hours because teens are going crazy in Ocean City. So what's up with all the teenagers gone wild?
It was 10 o'clock, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, it feels like those, remember back in the day where they would have those VHSs for sale on those commercials? Teens Gone Wild, Volume 3.
Order now, $19.99.
Yes.
I know.
Plus
And
shipping and handling.
school's done next week, and so my son. Oh, all the kids, they rented an Airbnb in Ocean City and Sea Isle. They rented. We're all going down. Oh, well, you're not going down. That's not happening.
Well, that story you reported on yesterday that happened, I guess, Monday night at Subaru Park there in Chester, that was a party because they wanted to celebrate the end of school. It's like,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
The parents, ultimately, this is about parental control.
Yeah.
All right. We do. This is an important follow up before I get to the Delco bus driver story. Councilman Eunice Dwumfor, we have talked a lot about her. She was shot and killed by somebody we now know from her church, according to authorities there in Sayreville, New Jersey. So they've arrested now 28-year-old Rashid Ali Bynum of Portsmouth, Virginia. We don't know fully all the details of this, but she was an elected official in New Jersey. Councilman Eunice Dwumfor and police said they have cracked the case and made an arrest. She was fatally shot inside her car outside of her home, where her daughter, her young 11-year-old daughter, was home waiting for mommy. And so we're waiting for all the details on this suspect and the motive. But at least finally, police say they've made a crack in the case and made an arrest. Okay, Delco. The school bus driver is under arrest, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, accused of restraining a 10-year-old child in a seat with duct tape and, according to police, 54-year-old Clifton Heights resident, Juliet Pratt. Remember Clifton Heights? That's our highlight.
Yeah.
Electric.
Our man Peter.
I mean, I don't know what was going on, but according to authorities, Pratt admitted that this is not the first time that she wrapped duct tape around the child's ankles and chest, even though the child was already sitting in a district-supplied safety harness. This child, 10 years old, and has Down syndrome. And so there's a lot of community reaction, but the 10-year-old boy who has Down syndrome and is a special needs child is already in the special harness that holds him in that seat. So apparently she had duct taped him. So we don't have all the details of the situation, but she did tell authorities that, yes, she has done this before. So we don't know what precipitated that. We don't have her side of the story. There are no reports of injuries, but obviously there's a lot of community reaction and outrage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my wife's sister has Down syndrome, but putting the kid in a harness, that seems odd, unless he just can't control himself.
It's almost, I think, because my sense of this in the past is that, think about the fact that we have car safety seat laws for 2, 3, 4-year-old children.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if a child is the mentality of a 2 to 4-year-old, they will require some kind of a child, quote unquote, safety seat to buckle them in.
Yeah.
So that tells us that maybe there were some other issues going on the bus, because this is a bus where there are a lot of other kids.
Yeah. I'm having flashbacks to Mike Myers on SNL with a skit where he's wearing the harness at the park.
Yeah.
Oh, golly.
I'm such a bad person.
Jeez. And I don't know. Maybe we need some of these harnesses for House members and congressional members as we talk about the debt ceiling vote that's expected later today and the battles and the battle lines. And I know we'll discuss all that. T-Mobile Weather Center forecast. We are rising from 54 degrees this morning, bright, sunny, clear skies, to 81 degrees, 87 tomorrow for your Thursday, 91 for your Friday. Hazy and some air particle pollution warnings for anybody with breathing issues because of those Canadian wildfires. That's your T-Mobile Weather Center forecast. Wow, there's so much to talk about this morning. This is Kayal Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 6:13, it's a Wednesday morning, and it's time for a midweek Big Take.
The Big Take on Kayal Company.
All right, the Big Take this morning, the women's movement squashed by other women. Women have cleared many hurdles in the last century, but now that progress is being halted dead in its tracks. And it's not by men, it's not by the system, but by other women. we've given you countless stories over the last 8 months of this show when it comes to biological males invading female territory. We had Riley Gaines on the show in late March, and she talked about and continues to carry the torch for biological females seeking fairness in their designated athletic spaces. But now the mainstream media and the woke women of sports media are waging war against other female sportscasters and sports media members who have the courage, the common sense, and the right to demand that dudes stay the hell out of their sports. This past Memorial Day weekend, Nancy Armour, sports columnist for USA Today, who much like Christine Brennan, I think actually hates sports, decided to write almost a 1,000-word hit piece attacking ESPN's Samantha Ponder. Armour called Ponder a bigot because Ponder actually had the nerve to call for fairness in women's athletics. This is exactly what the left does. When they see something that they disagree with, they immediately pivot to slander, libel, and defamation as their course of rebuttal. You are wrong. That makes you a bigot, the woke media shouts from their mountaintop. Armour's column in the USA Today begins with this, quote, "Don't be fooled by the people who shout about fairness in sports to cloak their bigotry towards transgender girls and women, the transgender girls and women who have the audacity to want to play sports in particular. This is, and always was, about hate, fear, and ignorance." Armour goes on to bash Ponder by saying the following, ESPN's Samantha Ponder is the latest to tell on herself, using a tweet by anti-trans activist Riley Gaines to fight for the integrity of Title IX, and then patting herself on the back for her support of women's sports, Armour writes. You have to love how the left will adjust the slant just to fit their lens. Armour is arguing that Riley Gaines is anti-trans. Correction, she's merely pro-women. But if you're unfamiliar with Sam Ponder, she is a TV host for ESPN and used to be on their college football package. She's now been promoted to ESPN's Sunday NFL pregame show. She's a devout Christian, mother, and honestly a pretty sincere, down-to-earth lady. I personally met her in Nashville when the NFL draft came to Nashville in 2019. But this is not merely one isolated attack. It's one of many that females with a functional brain who have the guts to speak up and speak out face on a daily basis by the woke mob. If you defend biological females, you must be a bigot. 2 days ago, Nancy Armour tweeted the link to her story with the headline that reads, in case you missed it, if ESPN's Sam Ponder was truly concerned about women's sports, she's had ample opportunity to call out the inequities that actually do exist. She hasn't. This has nothing to do with fairness and everything to do with bigotry. To which ESPN's Sage Steele, an African-American conservative who hosts SportsCenter, fired back by saying the following to Armour. Pathetic attack on a woman who is simply fighting for other women in sports. Armour chooses to lead with her emotions over facts. Follow the science? Right. When in doubt, just pull the bigot or race card. Comical. Stay strong, Sam Ponder. This is a lonely fight, but worth it. Think about that. This is a lonely fight. If you are a biological female who believes biological females should only compete against biological females, you're in the minority and you are in an unbelievable fight for your existence. Now, you might recall Sage Steele's name in the news over the last few years. She was one who also had the courage to question the COVID-19 vaccine. And it was viewed to be, by some, a wild thought, including her employer, ESPN, which is owned by Disney. You see, the left hates a free-thinking woman as much as they hate a free-thinking black man. And when ladies and African Americans don't fall in line and toe the talking points, they are attacked by the woke losers of society. Sage Steele is in a contentious lawsuit right now with ESPN in a Connecticut Superior Court. We'll delve into that story in the next segment with the other COVID news of the day. And then you have the more passive-aggressive war against women within the ESPN company itself. Left-wing loser Sarah Spain, who might be the most woke of anyone at ESPN, liked a tweet that implied that Sam Ponder was a bigot. ESPN was asked to comment about the story, and of course they declined. Now, ESPN is usually a place where they demand coworkers get along to create the best work environment, as many employers do. But they always seem to turn a blind eye to their political narrative of choice. Allow left-wingers to attack conservatives, even if it falls under the umbrella of ESPN on ESPN crime. But the main question worth asking is the following. How can women, biological women that is, ever win this war against biological men invading their designated spaces if more women don't speak up? And how or why will they, or can they, when they are being attacked by other women and being labeled bigots? That forces you to just keep your mouth shut because you don't want to be attacked and labeled. And women have had to overcome so many obstacles. The right to vote, fair hiring practices, equal salaries to men. It goes on and on and on. The hurdles women have cleared is remarkable. Heck, even across the globe, women are still treated like property in some nations and without equal rights as men, forced to wear certain clothing, can't reveal their skin, so forth and so on. But here in the United States, they're supposed to just accept men pretending to be something they aren't, keep their head down, remain silent, take it like a man. I feel terrible for women, and I don't envy them in this battle at all. But hopefully the amount of women that are furious about these stories rise up in mass disapproval and have their voices heard. Don't be fearful of the attacks from the left and the false labeling, judgment, and assessment of your character and integrity, and fight back against the absurdity. Because the alternative doesn't seem very progressive, does it? No. In fact, it seems like a regression. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal Company.
A big take this morning. If you want to jump in, your thoughts, your reaction, 855-839-1210 is the phone number. You can get us on Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT, or you can comment on the YouTube channel. Be a part of our Kayal and Company comment community on YouTube at youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. We'll come back, get some reaction to that, as well as more COVID stories. Basically, the Fauci failures have come front and center. The details on the other side. It's Kayal Company live here on a Wednesday morning here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-635-3311. That's 1-800-635-3311. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-635-3311. That's 1-800-635-3311.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Hey, it's Rich. Is the hot summer and big electric bills that go with it are just around the corner. So this is your reminder that USA Installation's free labor offer ends on May 31st. You pay for the foam and they'll install it for free. USA has insulated over 100,000 homes. And if you're one of those previous customers, they have something special for you right now. USA wants to help your friends and neighbors get the same comfort and savings you have been enjoying. They love referrals and are going to reward you for helping them get the word out. For every new whole home installation customer that is referred by you, they will give you $500 as a thank you. 3 of your friends buy, that's $1,500. Just for telling your friends how they can save money on energy bills and keep their home more comfortable. And tell them now so they can take advantage of the free labor. If you're a new customer, referrals could pay for half of your installation. That all ends May 31st. So call them at 1-800-USA-FOAM, 1-800-USA-FOAM, or usainstallation.net.
USA Insulation.
When you
you need to know. Depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
The House is expected to vote today on a bill that would raise the nation's debt limit. The National Weather Service is issuing an air quality alert for the Philadelphia region that's being caused by a wildfire in Nova Scotia. 3 of the 9 members of Philadelphia's Police Oversight Commission are resigning amid complaints of internal fighting and bullying.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Summer brings the heat, but will your water heater? Bradford White knows no one wants to be out of hot water, no matter what the temperature is outside. Whether it's a vacation home or your everyday home, you need reliable hot water. You need a Bradford White. Bradford White water heaters are built to be the best, with both the efficiency and performance you deserve. Ask your plumbing professional to make it hot with a Bradford White water heater. Visit BradfordWhite.com to learn more and find a pro near you.
Don't miss Good News in Real Estate with Deanne Katsaros and Mark Cumberland, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Find out all you need to know about home buying and selling. Considering a career in real estate? Visit PhiladelphiaRealEstateClasses.com. Good News in Real Estate, Saturdays 1 p.m. on WPHT.
Attention real estate investors, PK Capital Funding, in business for over 30 years, provides creative funding for fix and flips up to 100%, 1 to 4 family properties, foreign national construction, and more. Call today, 267-266-0797.
Attention business owners, PK Capital Funding provides business loans even with a 500 credit score for manufacturing, doctor's offices, restaurants, auto repair, builders, and more. Call today, 267-266-0797, 267-266-0797.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your greenhouse? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
It was the day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value. But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610-894-7415 or online at retirereadyfg.com. You can forget where you put your keys, your glasses, or even your car. Don't forget to protect your retirement.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
Hey, Ben Salem, tell your smart speaker play 1210 WPHT.
.27. Welcome back in, Kayal Company, as we get it going here on this Wednesday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. You can stream us on the Odyssey app for free. You can watch us live on YouTube. Tony Bruno at 8:20 this morning. What's on the cut sheet at 7:45, and all sorts of good stories along the way. You know, coming off of the big take this morning, where we talked about how the USA Today and one of their lead sports writers, another one of these social justice warriors masquerading around as a sports journalist, had the audacity to attack a female at ESPN who is a very religious person, very peppy, very spunky. She's pretty talented. Her name is Sam Ponder. So wanted to kind of, highlight that in the big take this morning because, it just seems like one of these battles, and Dawn, I'm sure you have some thoughts on this, but, you're like a female and you want to stand up for, biological females, and then it's not even the pushback that you get from corporations or from, guys, but then it's like friendly fire. to one of your own sitting there saying, well, no, because I think the transgender man, as he transitions from guy to girl, should have every right to kick your butt in any endeavor of life, or specifically in this instance, a sporting event. And you stand up for that. And then the other female comes out there and attacks you and calls you a bigot. I mean, imagine if let's just say, and I know this is a random example, but let's just say you're a female news anchor on TV, and all of a sudden they want to replace you with a guy who is transitioning to become a female, and you speak up and you're like, you're not taking my job. No, I'm the anchor on this show. And then they label you as transphobic, a bigot, and all the other, phobias that they love to slap you with just by simply standing up for yourself and your own people. That's pretty remarkable. Oh, Dawn's not there. Oh, no, there she is.
It's unbelievable that they call this woman a bigot. And this is the problem, because, and if I'm her, and I would get a lawyer first and go to Sports Illustrated and all these different sites where the headline says, Sam Ponder, bigot.
Yep.
Bigotry, accused of it. No. Get a lawyer, have them take it down, contest this, because this is slander. To say all she's saying, to your point in the big take, all she's saying is it's not hateful to demand fairness in sports for girls and biological females. That's all she's saying.
And they go right for the kill shot, too.
Yes.
Like, there's no, build up. There's no climax. It's automatically 150 miles an hour in your face. You're a bigot. And how do you hit back against that? Like, it's like, when you're having, a trash talking battle with one of your buddies or your friends, and all of a sudden they go right for, the mom joke, and they go ultra personal on you right away. Like, you can't even, work your way towards calling me a bigot. You just boom, because then once they do that, it's like, well, how do you fight back against it other than obviously through legal action?
Yeah, I would lawyer up. I would get the biggest, baddest lawyer that I could, and I would punch back hard.
Yeah.
And she's got to do it quickly.
Yeah.
She only has a tiny window, because once that narrative is set in, then it's really tough to turn that around. And so to me, Sam, Samantha, fight this, but fight it hard and do it immediately. She probably has less than 24 hours to punch back and say, no, I'm the victim of bigotry. I'm the victim of this, and girls are too. And that, to me, this is not acceptable, but this is what they do.
Yeah.
This is what you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a bigot, you're a blah, 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 because they don't have any other argument except to call you a nasty name. And then people who are uninformed look at a headline that says, oh, Sam Ponder, bigot.
Yeah, they see the headline and that's what they run with.
It's infuriating.
Speaking of females kind of under attack, how about this? And females in the media, no less. Trump going after Kayleigh McEnany last night on Truth Social, which is just remarkable.
Be safe.
And I have no idea what their working relationship was like or anything like that. But Trump says on Truth, Kayleigh Milquetoast McEnany.
Uh-oh.
And by the way, apparently he spells milquetoast wrong. I mean, far be it for me to correct the Trumpster, because I've butchered my own words as well. But apparently milquetoast is not spelled like you would think it is, Milktoast. Apparently there's a different spelling for it. But he says Kayleigh McEnany just gave out the wrong numbers for polling on Fox News. I am 34 points up on DeSanctimonious, not 25. While 25 is great, it's not 34. She knew the number was corrected upwards by the group that did the poll. The rhinos and the globalists can have her. Fox News should only use real stars. I mean, you look at McEnany and you look at Sarah Huckabee Sanders, you look at Karine Jean-Pierre, and you look at Jen Psaki, the last 4 White House press secretaries. I would argue easily that McEnany and Sanders are superior to both of the people that have worked for the Biden administration. And I think McEnany is really good at what she does. She's a total pistol. She never took any guff from the media. She was always in command when they tried to shift the narrative and take control and hijack her press briefings. And I think she's great on TV. But I guess, you got the numbers wrong or somebody gave you bad information. And Trump's watching. Trump's he's like a brand manager. He's always listening to what's going on in the programming side of things. And if you say something incorrect, he's like a Twitter fact checker. He's going to come out and bash you. And this to me goes back to the loyalty factor. And we've been talking about DeSantis, right? And running against Trump. And now McEnany's in the news media. She's got her show. She's one of those correspondents. And Fox has kind of pivoted away from Trump and more towards DeSantis under the Rupert Murdoch edict, so to speak. So I'm not surprised that I saw this, but I saw this come out last night, and I got to tell you, I had a good chuckle. I mean, I'd like to defend McEnany. I don't know that she's disloyal, but I'll tell you what, you get anything wrong with Trump and you're no longer in his camp, you talk about attacks, he's coming for you.
First of all, milquetoast, he was making a play of alliteration. So milquetoast is 2 words.
Oh.
And he just put milquetoast McEnany, to make it like a pun of, make it alliteration.
Yeah.
So he made it 1 word.
Right.
But to me, first of all, he did her a big favor because everybody's talking about her today.
Yeah.
So there's that. To call her milquetoast, I think people were surprised by it because she did a very good job.
Oh, she was great.
And so I don't know. I think they have thick skin. If I'm her and I worked for him, I would say, I would tweet out, "Thank you, Mr. President." Just did her a big favor. But if you look at, the truth is, Trump still does hold this commanding lead over DeSantis.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the numbers. I think that she did misreport. So I don't know which poll she was looking at.
Yep.
But it appears that, in fact, she did strike a nerve because whatever she was quoting was not up to date.
Is it disloyal for her to leave Trump and, work for, because I'm now of the belief that everybody uses that position to elevate their own career. Like, I'm telling you what's going to happen. Karine Jean-Pierre, as bad as she is, as terrible of a speaker as she is, and we know that she's just basically regurgitating what's in the binder, she's going to end up with a TV show.
Oh, yeah. 100%. No, and as Greg Stocker would say, I don't think, I think they all you have to have a very thick skin in our business, but certainly in theirs. And so I think if I'm her, I chuckle, I laugh. I seriously, I tweet out, "Thank you, Mr. President."
It's great publicity.
She's isn't she filling in on one of the shows this evening? And so he just gave her a boatload of publicity, more than she could ever pay for. But in truth, I'm trying to look through all the numbers, and it just, even The Hill, LA Times, Newsweek, within the past 24 plus hours.
None of them are 25 points, right?
Yeah,
Trump's up anywhere from 34 to 50 everywhere you look, I think.
Yeah, I think he's way up.
Oh, yeah.
You get down, I assume she's going through and she's looking, she probably was naming some specific number and rattling off some numbers, but it shows you how it hit a nerve with him, too.
Oh, yeah.
He's very sensitive to DeSantis. So it also gives me insight that he's concerned about DeSantis rising in the polls.
Yeah.
Well, I think this has to do with 3 months ago. I'm looking for the audio. 3 months ago, she was on Outnumbered, the Fox News thing, and she basically said Ron DeSantis should get in now. So my guess is that Trump saw that.
Get in the race.
Get in the race. My guess is that Trump saw that and considers that disloyal, and then she's dead to him.
I don't think she's dead to him, Greg. We've seen him go back around. I think.
Yeah,
it's completely normal for him to
just propped
attack
up
everybody he praises. That's completely normal.
He just propped up Cuomo last night.
Yeah,
exactly. That's his thing. He goes back and forth. They have a tough skin and bust each other's chops. I don't know about that. I think that here's the thing, and we've had this happen to us, where it was last week, and I was giving media analysis. And I was saying, this is the media analysis, and somebody said, "Dawn, you," and I forget what it was at this point.
Yeah.
But so what she was saying 3 months ago, to Greg's point, is she was saying DeSantis needs to get in because he can't wait too long. And a lot of us have said, I think Larry was on Friday and said, DeSantis, he waited too long.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, are jumping on that, going, you know what? He waited too long, and can he recover from this deficit? And so I think she wisely in her analysis had said 3 months ago, now's the time. I don't think she was giving an I don't know. I don't think she was necessarily endorsing anybody. I think she was giving some smart analysis to the situation.
855-839-1210 if you would like to jump in. One last thing when it comes to, the female conversation that we have been having with free speech and women standing up for what they believe in and what they, want to say publicly. This battle that's going on, I mentioned ESPN's Sage Steele. Her free speech battle against Disney and ESPN is heating up. If you haven't paid attention to this story, Variety and Vanity Fair have covered it in the last couple of days. And here's just kind of the quick, brief synopsis of what's been going on. And this is very interesting because, free speech lives right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. So this is the perfect story for this. So in September of 2021, at the height of the pandemic, ESPN anchor Sage Steele appeared on a podcast on one of her off days. During the interview, the interviewer asked Steele why she had a bandage on her arm, and she explained that she had just received the COVID shot in compliance with Disney's policy, which required salaried and non-union workers to be fully vaccinated. Now, she is a 16-year veteran of ESPN, and she went on to slam the corporate mandate as sick and scary and noted that she didn't want to get the vaccine but still complied in order to keep her job and support her family. During the hour and 10-minute long podcast, Steele also expressed other views that deviated from prevailing discourse in most of the mainstream media, namely that as a self-identified biracial woman, she didn't understand why Barack Obama only identified as black. But she goes on to say, you do you, I'm going to do me. Her COVID comments, though, are the ones that really irked ESPN's leadership, according to sources familiar with her case. She got a ton of backlash on social media, people saying that her comments were appalling, awful, bonkers, and nasty. Ultimately, ESPN and Disney forced Sage Steele to apologize in a statement, and they suspended her in October of 2021. Now, last April, just over a year ago, April 2022, Steele, who had no arbitration clause in her contract that is due to expire next year, filed a blistering lawsuit against ESPN and Disney, which has now made its way up the court system to the Superior Court in Connecticut. Her lawsuit is arguing that Connecticut law prohibits private employers from disciplining their employees for engaging in constitutionally protected speech, whether that speech takes place in the workplace or outside of it. Given that her comments were made on a podcast on her own time and on matters of significant public interest, they are protected both under the U.S. as well as Connecticut constitutions. And her employer illegally subjected her to substantial workplace penalties and retaliatory actions, despite admitting that the network did not immediately review Steele's comments or the context in which they were made. I find this to be a fascinating story because this goes back to a lot of things that we've talked about on this show where people have lost their job for not getting the COVID shot. Yeah. And then you find out, oh, man, this COVID shot really doesn't do much for you. And then the employers basically go back, they backpedal, they hire you. Some of them give you back pay for all the lost wages. And a lot of these people are vindicated. Now, this is a high-profile case with a TV personality. Mm-hmm. But how many times have we had stories where it's a teacher, a police officer, a firefighter, just your average, everyday American hero that was told, hey, if you don't get this, you're out. They said no. They stood up for what they believed in, ultimately were proven right, and then at the end of the day get vindicated by being, allowed back to work and compensated for the lost money. This really goes to show you the levels in which the media, these corporations, and really employers forced you to do something you didn't want to do. And if you didn't do it and you were a public figure, you were labeled as a whack job.
Yes.
They shamed you.
And they did. And here in Philadelphia, think about all the firefighters, all the cops, and nurses, teachers. I mean, there were many, many people who had religious, faith-based. There were women, especially the issue of women saying, I'm trying to get pregnant or I am pregnant. And people were scared. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, at some point yesterday, I had reported on that issue that a total of 330 COVID-19 studies have been revoked. And I remember over the time, you remember this, we were saying, wow, another study on COVID. And it was everything from, it causes hearing loss to tinnitus to, there were all these different studies. And so now they're saying these were all revoked. And some of them were, yes, small and not peer reviewed. And I reported that at the time properly, saying this is not yet peer reviewed. This is a new study. But on the other hand, some of them were in the Lancet. All revoked.
Yep.
330. That's unprecedented in that short period of time.
Yes.
And so all of this misinformation was swirling. And we think about social media being complicit, government being complicit. I know you're going to get to Fauci, but this is horrifying to me.
Yes.
That people were pressured, to do this, and even people pressured to get their child the COVID-19 vaccination because it's not actually a true, and I say in air quotes, vaccination. It's not the polio vaccine.
That's correct.
This is very different. So I want to just make that distinction.
Yeah. And, the thing that bothers me the most about all of it is when you were forced to make a decision of get something that you did not want or continue to provide for your family. What if you were a man or a woman in a one-income household or, even a two-income household and both people have the same amount of burden of, hey, providing a paycheck every 2 weeks. And you sat there and you said, boy, I really don't want this. Whether it's religious, whether I have doubts about the efficacy of it or anything like that. And you're basically making me force this on me or pay my bills to keep my mortgage over my roof, my kid's head and feed my child. And then they shamed you as anti-science, as a conspiracy theorist, as a kook, right?
Yeah, and you've used the word shame, Nick, and that's exactly right. But you were also, and I talk about everybody working together and being complicit. You were isolated out. You couldn't even DM another fellow conservative or somebody else, let's say on social media, who has the same questions or fears. So you couldn't DM them. You couldn't tweet that out. You might not have even known that you were being shadow banned or silenced.
Yeah.
Then in the medical community, top doctors, and we've talked about all this, top medical professionals and researchers were also being silenced at the same time so that the control and the fix was in, you kooky outlier, shaming you. And I'm just going to say this for anybody who's saying, oh, no, look at on Kayal Company, they're talking about, they're a bunch of anti-vaxxers. These were emergency experimental. They were not fully approved yet by the FDA, and they were being required for adults and kids. They were only through emergency approval, not the full regular approval.
Are they to this day fully approved by the FDA?
Most are.
Okay.
But now we know about the myelitis risk, which again is very small, but it's still out there. And so a lot of people's pediatrician and for young men and teenage boys and young men. And how many calls did we take?
A lot.
Right? From especially young men in the military and police, fire, right? They're in those categories of the high risk of that myelitis, that heart inflammation. And then there was one doctor who literally, remember this, said, oh, well, it's only a slight inflammation.
Yeah, just
Another
mild.
doctor called in and said, that's like being slightly pregnant.
Yeah.
If your
It's
heart,
just a slight brain tumor. It's not a big one.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. 855-839-1210. Everything with mandates and lockdowns were absolutely useless. We will have those details of that study on the other side. But as you know, I've had the privilege of test driving some amazing vehicles from our friends at the Piazza Auto Group. I've been an SUV guy my whole life, so using the Alfa Romeo, the Maserati, the Land Rover, they were all glorious. They all made sense. However, I couldn't fight the urge to get a brand new truck. Been on a truck kick for about a year and a half, and the choice has been made. I'm now leasing for the next 36 months a brand new 2023 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition truck from Piazza Honda in Springfield. With the family coming up this summer, it's the perfect truck for moving stuff into the new house and utilizing all the space that it offers. This truck is gorgeous with just the right blend of size, power, and style. You can see the pictures of this fully loaded truck on my Twitter at Nick Kayal if you would like. And if you're in the market for a new or certified pre-owned vehicle, whether it's a truck, SUV, or car, I encourage you to shop with the Piazza Auto Group. With 15 brands and now 34 locations, trust me, they'll get you in a vehicle that fits your exact needs. Check them out at piazzaautogroup.com.
It's Borgata's 20th anniversary. Come celebrate with over 20 wheels during the Road to Riches giveaway. This May and June, 1,200 players will win a share of $1.2 million in prizes, including 4 luxury golf carts and 2 Lexus SUVs. Earn entries for drawings held every Saturday and 2 grand prize drawings on May 27th and June 24th. The Road to Riches giveaway, only at Borgata. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, everyone. This is Stephanie Kelly from Emmons Roofing and Siding, and I have some exciting news to share. Emmons has partnered with SunPower, the top-rated home solar company in New Jersey. SunPower has been leading the solar industry for over 37 years and is the only U.S. solar company that's lasted longer than their 25-year warranty. Kill the bill. The energy bill, that is. Imagine no more high energy bills, while all the while helping reduce your carbon footprint at no cost to you. It's a win-win. Yes, we now offer solar, but remember, if you need a new roof, siding, doors, windows, or interior remodeling, don't wait. Right now, Emmons is offering all 1210 listeners 10% off roofing, siding, and Anderson windows. And we are continuing to offer 12-month same-as cash financing. And don't forget that lifetime warranty on your roof. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 856-885-6677, emmonsroofing.com. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, kitchens, baths, and solar. Trust Emmons to be your first and last stop for all your home improvement needs. emmonsroofing.com.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Parks Casino. Joe Conklin hosts national comedians every other Thursday. It's Joe Conklin's Comedy Night at Parks. Show dates and tickets. Go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Hatfield Pork brings flavor to the table the whole family will enjoy and keep you moving through the day. With over 24 distinct flavors that can be ready in minutes, it's food you can feel good about serving. Explore endless meal possibilities with Hatfield's variety of marinated pork, ground sausage, ham, and bacon. Find your flavor with Hatfield. Visit simplyhatfield.com for recipes and to find a retailer near you.
In the market for a job? Level up. Unlock your full potential with Skill Up PA. Free online trainings and certifications will give your resume a boost and set you up for career success. Visit pacareerlink.pa.gov and look for the green banner. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain with this free, self-paced online training platform. Level up with Skill Up PA. Get started today at pacareerlink.pa.gov.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Don Stensland weekdays 10 till noon. Dom to your down on noon till 3. Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Loving you isn't the right thing to do. And how can I ever change things that I feel? If I could, maybe I'd give you my word.
6:52, it's Kayal Company as we roll on live here on a Wednesday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. The Fauci failures of COVID are upon us. A couple of things to hit on here, from Rand Paul to a new study confirming that the mask mandates and the COVID lockdowns were useless, to AOC still adhering to social distancing, apparently, within her office. I'm not sure if you guys saw this yesterday. So Rand Paul, and the AOC thing is just remarkable. Yeah. But Rand Paul, yeah, what's that?
Maybe it's just bad breath, using it as an excuse.
Oh,
coffee breath or something.
Hey, I've been there. I always feel like, too, by the way, like after the show's over on a Tuesday and I go into the sales meeting, I'm like, man, do I have coffee breath? Because it's one thing to bark into the microphone because the microphone doesn't have feelings and won't tell me my breath stinks. But when I go into a sales meeting with 35 people, I'm like, does anybody have any Winter Fresh?
Yeah, I was going to say, carry a mint, brother.
Yeah. I'm not a big mint guy.
Okay.
Dries out the vocal cords.
Okay.
I learned that a long time ago. Stay away from mint if you're in the broadcasting business. Yes, bad for the pipes. But anyway, Rand Paul tweeting out the following. He posted a screenshot from July 11th of 2016. Now, in the caption on Rand Paul's tweet, he says, "Did Fauci lie when he said he never funded gain-of-function research? Well, Peter Daszak certainly thanked Fauci's NIH for resuming funding for his gain-of-function research." This goes back, as I said, on Monday, July 11th of 2016. Remember, I'm of the belief, and this is just my opinion, that Fauci probably perjured himself 4, 5, or 6 different times over the course of the pandemic when asked to testify and give sworn testimony in front of Congress. But the email is very simple, and it's a post. It says, "Dear Jenny," this is coming from Peter Daszak. "Dear Jenny, this is terrific. We are very happy to hear that our gain-of-function research funding pause has been lifted. Cheers, Peter." And it's an email to a bunch of people that are CC'd and copied on this email thread that work for the NIH, which, of course, is the organization in which Tony Fauci is a part of. So when Fauci says we've never funded gain-of-function research, looks like Rand Paul's got the email receipts, and he has shared that on his Twitter feed at Rand Paul, if you would like to see that. And then from one politician to the next when it comes to COVID, this is great. AOC's office in Washington, D.C. is still spouting the COVID social distancing guidelines. Now, here's the details of this. And as we know, the COVID-19 pandemic emergency is over. It ended, what was May 11th or May 15th, when the Biden administration said enough is enough. And if you are to call, now we're not talking about her office in New York, but when you call her office in Washington, D.C., you get an automated phone message that reminds you of the following. And here's the transcript of the voicemail. "Thank you for calling the office of Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Federal, state, and local officials have advised that social distancing is critical to preventing the spread of COVID-19, which we all know social distancing is a crock of you-know-what. It doesn't work. Quote, as such, staff in the Congresswoman's D.C. and district offices will shortly begin telecommuting. Meetings and other businesses will be conducted by phone or video. Thank you for understanding." So one of two things is in play here. Either AOC hasn't updated her voicemail machine, or she is still practicing dated CDC guidelines, which you can't rule that out because every now and then when you go out and about, you still see some of these people that adhere to the CDC on May 31st of 2023. You still see the guy with a mask on. You still see the lady driving in her car with a mask on with the windows up, as if like she cracked the window a little inch. She's going to breathe in COVID. It's bizarre that some of these people still adhere to this. And lastly, and we'll probably get to this on the other side, all of the mandates. Now, Dawn, you had something yesterday on your show. I think you just referenced it last segment, correct, with COVID and the retraction of 300 plus studies?
Yeah, there's a Retraction Watch website. 330 plus studies have now been retracted. These are medical studies worldwide.
Okay.
That were widely reported here in the U.S. and the world.
And this is specifically on just the shot?
Just on COVID-19 and the vaccines.
Okay. All right. So on the other
treatments.
Beautiful. So on the other side, we will give you the study that shows just how bad the mandates and lockdowns were when it comes to just being utterly useless. And remember all those blue states and how they supposedly handled COVID much better than red states? All nonsense. We'll give you the facts on the other side. Hour 2. Kayal Company coming up next here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The MLB app. Your team, your players, your home for live streaming baseball.
And what a way to start.
Customize your home feed with your favorite team. Get personalized stats, highlights, stories, breaking news, and follow your team on game day. 3D replays and live streams add a new dimension to the game. Plus, free live streaming programming every day. The MLB app. Make it your home for all things baseball. Download for free from the App Store or Google Play. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Virtua Health is here for you, all of you. Here for the run-of-the-mills, the out-of-the-blues. Here for everything in between. And with our Rowan University partnership, we're here, rethinking the way academic medicine feels. Welcome to a more convenient, smarter healthcare experience. And that's more good for everyone. Find a Virtua physician or location near you at virtua.org. Virtua Health, now more than ever, here for good.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me, 40 days up to 40 pounds. Visit njdiet.com or call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. 40 days up to 40 pounds. 40 days up to 40 pounds.
The cooling experts at Horizon Services Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing made over 20,000 air conditioner repairs last year, and 60% could have been avoided with a Horizon Clean and Inspect tune-up. Prepare for the heat ahead and identify any issues before they lead to larger problems, avoiding costly repairs and lowering cooling bills. Plus, every tune-up is backed by Horizon's industry-leading no-breakdown guarantee. Book at horizoneasybook.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Summer is the perfect time to call Kathy Ganna at New Hope Academy. Does your child or grandchild need more of a challenge? Now's the time to make that call to Kathy Ganna at New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown at 800-300-0003. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope founder Kathy Ganna, pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed at New Hope Academy. There's a student-teacher ratio of 2-to-1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call now for a no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today, 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy now, 800-300-0003.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This has been a test of the emergency alert system.
Retiring from the workforce gives you opportunities you may have been unable to take advantage of during your working years. New passions. More time with the people you love. In fact, if you are over age 62, own a home, and have equity in it, you can extend your retirement runway by borrowing against that equity while owning your home's title. Guaranteed Rate launches Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. Unlike other equity loans, HECM is FHA insured. HECMs flip the roles of lender and borrower, where the borrower receives payments from the lender in the form of a line of credit or a simple lump sum for vacations, major purchases, gifts, or even home improvements. You'll have no more monthly mortgage payments. Find out more about home equity conversion mortgage at rate.com/HECM-mortgage. This is not a commitment to lend. For all terms and conditions, visit rate.com/HECM-mortgage.
At Wells Fargo, if you accidentally overdraw your account, we give you an extra day grace period to avoid the overdraft fee. What if everything came with an extra day?
Sunday night and I have the Sunday scaries.
Honey, don't be scared. Every weekend comes with an extra day now.
All right. TGI Sunday.
It helps to have an extra day. When it comes to overdrafts, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getextra to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to timing requirements and the bank's funds availability policy. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, Ben Salem. Tell your smart speaker play 1210 WPHT.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
7:03, welcome back in Kayal Company, hour number 2, as we get going here on a Wednesday morning, final day of May. The great Tony Bruno coming up at 8:20. What's on the cut sheet at 7:45. And we'll also put a bow on our COVID conversation coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Still ahead this morning, major disrespect once again in the direction of some of our heroes in this country. and also some teacher stories, both locally here in Philadelphia as well as statewide, as Pennsylvania teachers are leaving at record rates. We're going to get into this story and try to figure out maybe why that is occurring right here in the Keystone State as we continue this morning. But before all of that, let's get around number 2 of the news. And here's the great Dawn Stensland.
And good morning. We are sponsored this morning by Piazza Premium Automobiles. Emotional testimony as the federal death penalty trial of a man accused of shooting to death 11 worshipers at a Pennsylvania synagogue, the Tree of Life Synagogue. That was the opening yesterday in court in a Pittsburgh courtroom. This happened October of 2018, and harrowing audio of 911 calls featuring one of the victims' last words. Shannon Besa Sable was that first witness in the trial, testified she answered a 911 call from a lady named Bernice Simon from inside the Tree of Life Synagogue that day. And this lady, in her mid-80s, is saying, please help us, as she was holding in her arms her husband who was bleeding to death. And ultimately that 911 operator testified. I mean, it's unthinkable. Testifying that this lady Bernice was then shot to death during that call. Very emotional testimony and gripping, as now the gunman, 50 years old, I'm not even saying this guy's name, pleading not guilty. His attorneys are saying they know he's guilty, but was he mentally fit? And a lot of emotion, certainly online, as we think about this horrifying trial.
I love the fact that you don't say his name.
No, I'm not saying that dude's name.
Don't glorify these losers.
Yeah.
That's because that's part of what they seek, right?
I don't even know what to say. It's to be in your place of worship like that, and to have that kind of shooting and so many others injured. This is making international news, obviously, but I'll continue to say the victims' names as I did. And this brave lady Bernice, holding her husband till her last moments in the very synagogue where they were married, half a century before. It's just an unthinkable situation, but he's fighting the death penalty, this guy. I will give you another headline: dire warnings from artificial intelligence leaders. And as well, another headline: the House is to vote on the debt limit deal. The New York Times today, their headline, and we should talk about this, they're flipping the talking point to focusing on, turmoil within the Republican Party, the Republicans, and they're revolting within the party.
I liked how you skipped past the dire warning from AI scientists. Like, that's a huge story.
I thought this was part of the story she was talking about now.
No, it's just all of these scientists have basically signed on and said, "Hey guys, like they're kind of making this on the same par with nuclear war."
Let's ask the AI czar if, in fact, these people did do this.
They did.
Thank you, Kamala.
She do her Venn diagram with the AI.
Yeah.
No, there's so much news today. I was just starting to give some headlines. There are dozens of industry leaders and academics in the field of artificial intelligence. They're calling for greater global attention.
Yes.
Why? Because there's a threat of extinction. That means us, humans, that we are being threatened.
It's not a bad thing.
From AI. So everybody from, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and Jeffrey Hinton. I mean, so many of these, the so-called godfather, that's Jeffrey Hinton, the so-called godfather of AI. And they're all saying, hey, folks, heads up. We're talking about everything else. We humans face extinction if we don't get AI under control.
We may need, as a nation, as a global population, to pivot away from gain of function research with COVID and do gain of function research with artificial intelligence. We're going to have to send in some of the experts to start tinkering around with this. I mean, if we're on the verge of extinction, well, number one, I hope it's after I'm long and gone and out of this society. But this is becoming a thing, huh?
Screw your kids.
Screw the hell with them. They're on their own, and they incur my debt when I'm gone.
Oh my goodness. Locally, we talked a lot about teens gone wild, whether teens and kids, whether the streets of Philadelphia or Ocean City, New Jersey in particular, changing some rules as to when you can be on the beach. They were allowing kids on the beach until 10 o'clock at night. Now they're saying get off the beach by 8 o'clock at night. So just trying to rein in the teens down the Jersey Shore as schools get out and high school graduations, but also in the Philadelphia region. I know Mayor Jim Kenney spoke out about it yesterday. So we have all that going on. And then arrests across the region, carjackers and gun shop burglars, all underage teenagers, ages 14 to 17. So that's a common theme in that story as well. Whew, there is so much. I can't even get through the newscast because we just have too much today. There's so much going on. I want to say our Phillies, unfortunately, oh man, we are 1/3 of the way through our season. So the glass half full view of this would be, even though we lost 2-1 yesterday, we still have 2/3 of the season to go. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to put the positive spin.
I'll give you another positive spin.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, they're only 6.5 games out of first place. Okay. Like they're still hanging in. Like it's not as if they're 12 or 13 games out of first place. So somehow, as bad as they've been, they're still keeping their heads somewhat above water.
They're winning the right games. I mean, they split the series with the Braves, who are in first place. So if you keep chipping away at the NL.
Yeah.
East,
and the Braves have cooled off.
Yes.
They get off to a really scorching hot start.
Exactly.
So it was 2-1. We lost to the New York Mets, and so that I think we should have won that one. I think that's why. But I'll just quickly mention Scott Rowland, John Quinn, Ruly Carpenter are to join this fall the Phillies Wall of Fame. They're inductees.
Nice.
So obviously, former third baseman Rowland, he'll be honored this fall. And he was the NL Rookie of the Year back in '97. And we could go on and on. 8 Gold Gloves, 7 All-Star Games, 2006 World Series ring as a member of the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Quinn, the longest tenured GM in franchise history, and Carpenter, the president and owner of the 1980 World Series champs. They'll be honored posthumously before the Phil's August 12th game against the Twins. We are sponsored by Piazza Premium Automobiles. Have exceptional style every day with the all-new Maserati Grecale or MC20, available for immediate delivery from Maserati of Wilmington Pike in Chadds Ford. Stop by for a test drive or just shop online. Maserati of WilmingtonPike.com. Thank you, Piazza Premium Automobiles, for sponsoring our Kayal Company News Live. T-Mobile Weather Center forecast: a warm day and a warm week, 81 degrees, bright sunny skies. Tomorrow for your Thursday, 87. Friday, 91 degrees. And moving into another warm summer-like weekend, no major precipitation for the next 7 days. Kayal Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210, the number. So the final thing on our COVID front today, mask mandates and COVID lockdowns were useless in a new study. And this is just coming out a few days ago. A substantial group of researchers recently published a study on the impact of COVID-19 pandemic policies and behaviors and their economic and educational trade-offs across the United States from January 2020 to July 31st of 2022. What they attempted to do was to compare mandates and behaviors across states. Their goal was to determine the importance of those policies in relation to COVID outcomes. And essentially what they did was they would imply that the U.S. could have had a better response based on the relative success of states like Vermont and Hawaii compared to Mississippi, essentially blue states versus red states. But they really almost undercut their own argument when they identify factors that caused states like Mississippi to have worse outcomes. Higher poverty rates, lower educational attainment, and comorbidities were all associated with more infections and higher death rates. Now, in this study, a couple of things that they break down here. They talk about how Vermont and Hawaii and other areas had immense natural advantages, as did other countries, not because of their weather or population density, but because they had higher incomes and healthier populations. Hawaii's median household income is roughly $83,000 a year. Mississippi, by contrast, has a median household income of $46,000 per year. Despite clearly operating under the assumption that science-based policies would guide certain states to better COVID outcomes, even they were forced to admit that authorities were hopelessly outmatched. Quote, higher public health spending and more public health personnel per capita were not associated with infection or death rates. Perhaps the best indicator is a map of the United States showing the researchers' adjusted comparisons of COVID mortality rates. And once you do the adjusted comparison of COVID mortality rates, you end up seeing that red states actually handled it much better than blue states. For example, Florida outperformed California after the adjustment. They also go on to talk about how COVID mask mandates and lockdowns were not successful, and some of these states prove it for you. So here's a couple of states, and you can do the compare and contrast. After these adjustments based on income and education level and some of the entry points that I mentioned were adjusted, Florida, out of the 50 states, was the 12th best performing state in the country, even though, you know, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, was mocked. The experts said that he was, leading people to death. When you do the adjustment, Washington, D.C. is the second worst performing, quote, state. I know Washington, D.C. is not a state, but they isolated D.C. and said out of 50 plus areas in which they surveyed, whether it's states or any throw in the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. was the second worst. And if you saw any news during the pandemic with Washington, D.C., people running around with masks on, all the social distancing around, government buildings and, everything else that was going, running amok during COVID, Washington, D.C. adhered to all the science. They were the second worst performing area. New Mexico, the state Scientific American once claimed controlled the spread of the virus, is the third worst performing state in the country. Colorado, with its Democratic governor and liberal population, the fifth worst performing state. And then when we talk about the states that gave you more freedom, such as Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Florida, many portions of Texas, Austin excluded, those red states well overperformed against blue states and blue cities, despite being labeled as relatively laxed when it came to COVID-19 policy. And Gavin Newsom, who repeatedly would talk about their performance in California, they actually turned out to be in the top 30% of worst outcomes. California ranked 16th in the worst results from COVID, whereas South Carolina and Oklahoma, states that never implored a mask mandate, statewide performed significantly better. So when you look at all of this and then you factor in, certain adjustments based on, because let's face it, not every state is the same with income, with education, with weather, and certainly with blue or red controlling bodies, the red states did much better. And I can attest to that in Tennessee, having lived there for the pandemic. They handled COVID much better than blue states like New York, California, and even Pennsylvania. 855-839-1210 if you would like to jump in. We got to get to this Marine story when we come back. We've had a lot of stuff with Marines in the news. Daniel Penny, and now you figure, all right, you're a Marine, you're off duty. It's just if you and a couple of other of your buddies in the Marines, you're having a good time at the beach, and then you get jumped and assaulted by 40 people. We'll get to that story when we come back. It's Kayal Company live here on a Wednesday morning. Here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
King Shooter Supply, a full-service gun store, licensed FFL, buy, sell, trade, all sorts of accessories, and indoor range and training center is open in King of Prussia with lessons and classes for all shooters, such as parent and child gun safety and range time, weekly cleaning classes, and pistol red dot. Check out all the offerings. Membership options include law enforcement, military, first responder, and seniors. Stop in to see King Shooter Supply, 346 East Church Road in King of Prussia, or find them on Facebook, kingshooters.com. Now open Sundays too, noon till 6.
If you you haven't stepped foot in one of the Dogs and Cats Rule stores, what are you waiting for? Hi, I'm George Parenti, the lead dog at the Dogs and Cats Rule. We all know there's so many choices for pet parents to decide where to buy and what to buy. That's why the staff at the Dogs and Cats Rule stores are perfectly positioned to guide you on decisions about nutrition, homeopathic supplements, fashionable apparel, and of course, an overwhelming selection of toys, chews, and treats. So visit Dogs and Cats Rule with 7 neighborhood locations, or find us anytime online at dogsandcatsrule.pet.
This is Flea for This Little Light, a podcast about falling in love with music. I started a nonprofit music school about 20 years ago called the Silver Lake Conservatory of Music. The reason that I started doing this podcast was music education. I'll be speaking with Rick Rubin, Thundercat, Stuart Copeland, Margot Price, Corey Henry, Cynthia Erivo, Sheila E., and Patty Smith.
Please listen and follow This Little Light, a presentation of Cadence 13 on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The year is nearly half over and you're still dealing with that knee or hip pain. Enough is enough. Pills are not the answer. Surgery is not the answer. You need to call QC Kinetics right now. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. The advanced regenerative medicine solutions at QC Kinetics can give you a life without that chronic joint pain. And you can do all those summer activities that you used to enjoy. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking healing properties from your own body so your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. Patients across America are having life-changing results. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. If you're suffering with joint pain in your knees, hips, back, shoulders, you need to stop what you're doing. Call QC Kinetics now. Get a free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can give you your life back. Call now, 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. QC Kinetics. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey folks, the spring rains we're having are definitely hard on your home. Call PJ Fitzpatrick to fix your leaky roof right now and save you thousands on costly structural damage. And they fix it all: drafty windows, overflowing gutters, rotted trim, and leaking roofs. This is the time to call the home repair experts at PJ Fitzpatrick. No job too big or too small. Visit them at trustpj.com. They'll fix it right the first time. Visit trustpj.com and stay off the ladders. Trustpj.com.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine. Fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Kayal Company, 721. Wednesday morning, just an hour away from the man on the Twitter ban, Tony Bruno. He's coming up at 8:20. What's on the cut sheet at 7:45? 855-839-1210 is how you get aboard. You can also chime in via social media, Twitter and Instagram at 1210 WPHT. Stream us on the Odyssey app or watch us on YouTube, because we want to get to 4,000 subscribers.
Yeah, so this morning there was a discussion on the YouTube chat about what the comment section is called. The Kayal and Company
comment community. We can alter that, though.
Well, everybody liked the K, but the problem is that it spells out KKK.
Yeah.
So maybe we shouldn't call it that with the K's.
Yes.
Well, isn't it C's?
Yes, but if we did the alliteration, like Kale, it would be KKK.
Yeah.
So let's not do that.
No.
So
we don't want to get flagged. We already get flagged by YouTube for using music.
We already have enough strikes against us as far as people wanting to. Right.
We're already guilty because we're all white. So,
exactly. So go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the subscribe button. If you're watching now, we only have 32 likes, and there's way more than 32 people watching. So if you're watching right now, please hit the like button. and subscribe, because we would like to get to 4,000 subscribers. So just hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Please do it now. Can you be the 4,000th WPHT YouTube subscriber? You can wear like a little pin that says that.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? That's just silly to say it's KK. It's KCC. That's just silly.
Yes.
That's
you're
just
right.
silly.
Yeah. KCCC.
KCCC.
KCCC. Kayal and Company Comment Community.
Yep.
KCCC.
Well, I think what we really need to do is actually you need to change your last name,
right?
The spelling,
Right.
Just be CALE.
That's correct.
Okay.
I refuse to be part of that, to fall to that. It's KCCC. It's not the other
Dawn's
thing.
had enough. She's not going to tolerate any crap or any bad labeling.
It's just silly.
I agree.
But
I'm sorry, but I'm done with that.
So you're done with it, huh?
No.
I'm done with you!
Old Man Deli says Nick's nattering nation.
So, somebody yesterday on Twitter said, whatever happened to doing McHale's Navy? And I just didn't respond. And then the person said, and how about this? Why don't we just go with Kale's Commanders? But that would be too close to the Washington football team.
Yeah.
I don't like that. We don't need to force anything on people.
It's true.
What we're doing is working. We don't need to just, be like some of these people where they just, hey, let's have a meeting to come up with like this new branding, and they come out with it and like it never catches on.
Yeah.
Whatever we're doing is working. So let's just.
I have an idea. I have an idea how we can get attention to 1210.
What's that?
We can use Dylan Mulvaney as our spokesperson.
Oh yeah, that'll go over real well.
I've just come up with that.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do.
We'll end up
Make it happen.
We'll end up like Chick-fil-A, killing a good thing.
Uh-oh.
Which, by the way, Chick-fil-A is going down that road now.
No, stop. He didn't say anything close to what that post suggests. We'll play it during the cut sheet.
Okay.
But I think people are blowing this way out of proportion.
All right. Well, one thing that's not being blown out of proportion is what's happening with our Marine. We've already seen police come under attack in the defund the police era. But now, coming off of Memorial Day, we have disrespect with Marines. And there's an update to this where I believe now 19 arrests have been made. And this was circulating social media if you saw the video. It's about a minute and change long. But there's this shocking video that was captured of a mob of up to 40 teenagers viciously beating a trio of off-duty Marines for simply asking them to stop lighting fireworks on a California beach. So you're a Marine, you're an adult, you're on the beach, you're trying to have a good time, you're trying to relax, and you got a bunch of punk utes that are shooting off fireworks, and it's annoying and it's killing your relaxation.
Yeah.
So the footage has gone viral, and here's one of the quotes from the Marine. He said, "We told them we were Marines so they would leave, but they didn't. They just kept going at it." One of the attacked servicemen, Hunter Antonino, told KCAL News in Los Angeles. As they started walking up some steps, some in the group behind yell for them to get the bleep out of here before one of them runs up from behind and sucker punches the trailing Marine. After a brief hesitation, the Marine drops what's in his hands and charges at his attacker, knocking him down. Instantly, this mob of people swarm around him, throwing wild punches and screaming all sorts of obscenities. The attacked Marine and one of his pals are left kind of crunched into the fetal position on the ground. And if you see the video, they have their hands in their arms covering their heads as this mob of people continue to kick, punch, and stomp them. At least one Marine who was also attacked was not seen in this video clip. And the nearly minute-long clip shows the attack only ending once a man and a woman rush in and scream at them to stop. Now, thankfully, the Orange County Sheriff's Department, I believe, has made 19 arrests after initially estimating there was 10 to 30 teens and young adults. But now the footage would reveal that there was actually at least 40 swarming the men on this beach. And the department vowed to investigate the attack and said, quote, "until all individuals responsible are identified and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law." I hope that this district attorney, this prosecutor in Orange County throws the book at all of these people. Like, what society are we living in today where Marines on their off time are being attacked on a beach for telling punks to stop disturbing the peace, essentially.
It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. You get in the middle of these wolf packs, and that's basically what they are.
Yeah.
And, we see videos all the time of people, say, hey, guys, behave or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they haul out and beat the living you-know-what out of that person. I see videos of this all the time. It happens it's like they're like feral.
Mm-hmm.
Like these kids are feral. And they need to be put down.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Oh my goodness.
I agree.
They do.
No, they need to have their butts whipped. I'm just cleaning that up for the radio. But I'm going to ask this question, and I know we always ask this, and it's like, well, this is nothing new. But I don't recall these mob-like swarming scenes happening for adult teenager, the 18, 19-year-old crowd, early 20s. I don't recall this happening as frequently when myself and Greg were, late high school.
Back in our day.
Yeah, I know there was always, people have always been jumped in the past, but this, mob-like mentality, I'm thinking about, the dirt bikes that we just heard about in the news yesterday on the show. 500 different dirt bikes. Dawn gave you in the news yesterday, there was another gathering over the weekend, I think it was Dawn, Memorial Day night or Sunday night, where teens gathered. Both. This all of a sudden, and people want to sit there and try to argue that it's not coordinated or it's loosely associated with blah, 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 blah. These aren't random, right?
No.
How do 40 teens all of a sudden just beat the crap out of 3 Marines?
Look, you blame the people, obviously, but I think social media is a big part of this because I think they see this stuff happening on social media. They can gather more quickly because of social media. Hey, everybody meet here at this time. And there's this gang mentality that people are just there's power in numbers, and they know people can't stop them if there's 15, 20, whatever of them.
I just have a little different twist on the social media angle. You're not wrong with that, but I also think that social media now glorifies this because there's Twitter feeds dedicated to fights that break out, gang beatdowns, big mob scenes, and all they do is compile these videos, and their whole Twitter existence is dedicated to posting these videos.
Mm-hmm. There's a subset culture out there that is just their reaction to everything is violence.
Is this a pandemic thing?
I don't know if it's a pandemic thing. I think it's just a social media thing, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's, kids now they gather in groups more because they think there's power in numbers.
Yeah. And there's just no respect.
And obviously there is, you know what I mean?
Right. And, it's not like these were Marines in uniform, so this guy could be like, yeah, I'm a Marine, knock it off, and then they have no idea whether you're a Marine or not. But
I just wish those Marines were packing at the time, and they could have just, taken some youths out.
Each one of these teens that ganged up 10-1, 15-1, 40-3 on these Marines, their punishment should be 60 seconds in the ring with a Marine, and let the Marine just mop them up.
Yeah.
Little punks. 855-839-1210. Sorry. Oh, man. When we come back, 2 stories when it comes to teachers in the state of Pennsylvania and one locally here in the city of Philadelphia. Those details on the way, and we try to figure out why. Record numbers, record rates of teachers leaving their profession here in the state of Pennsylvania. We're back after this on Kayal Company.
Did you know that a child dies every 5 days from choking, which is the 4th leading cause of accidental death? The original LifeVac is the easiest, safest, and most effective airway clearance device that can save you or a loved one from choking. LifeVac has saved over 600 choking rescue survivors. Learn more at lifevac.net and use promo code NEWS to save 20% on your purchase today. That's lifevac.net, promo code NEWS to save 20% on your purchase today. LifeVac is proudly made in the USA.
We at Aqua believe water is essential. That's why Aqua Pennsylvania invests more than $300 million yearly to ensure the treatment and delivery of safe drinking water to your homes and businesses. It's also why we ensure wastewater is treated properly and returned to streams and fields cleaner than when we removed it. You can save money and help the environment by finding and fixing leaks in your home, which can reduce your water and wastewater bills. Aqua, an essential utility, making sure quality water is there when you need it.
Hi, this is Norman the Floorman from Norman Carpet. I just finished a book on how not to get ripped off. I paid $150 for it. No kidding, folks. If you're responsible for buying carpet for your company or organization, you need to call me now. I stock the largest selection of commercial carpet in the Delaware Valley. And yes, we can install within 48 hours. Call 800-220-RUGS. Call Norman the Floorman to save 50% off our competitor's best price. Now that's not chopped liver.
Don't miss Good News in Real Estate with Deanne Katsaros and Mark Cumberland, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Find out all you need to know about home buying and selling. Considering a career in real estate? Visit PhiladelphiaRealEstateClasses.com. Good News in Real Estate, Saturdays 1 p.m. on WPHT.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-981-4455. That's 800-981-4455. 800-981-4455.
Calling on Percy to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
Welcome back in, Kayal Company, as we continue 7:36 Wednesday morning. What's on the cut sheet coming up at 7:45? What is going on with teachers in the state of Pennsylvania? This is a fascinating story. Philadelphia Inquirer. Teachers are leaving Pennsylvania classrooms at the highest rate on record, a new analysis has found. It's a study done by the Penn State Center for Education, Evaluation, and Policy Analysis, and they've examined teacher attrition over the last couple of years from 2021, 2022 to 2022, 2023. Now, I've got some thoughts as to why this could be happening, but they have concluded that 7.7% of the Pennsylvania teaching workforce, or 9,587 teachers, have left their positions. Almost 10,000 teachers in 2 years leaving their jobs here in Pennsylvania. That is up from 6.2% in 2022, which was up from 5.4% in 2021. Now, here's I have three possible whys. Could it be, number one, violent students? That's the first thing. Just kind of going back to what we just talked about, the attack on the Marines. You know, you see a lot of these stories, a lot of these videos circulate on social media where these kids are fighting in their science classroom and slamming the other student's head off the desk 14 times, school bus fights. You know, I know social media can be an exaggeration and, you know, all of a sudden you think that's real life. But I'm wondering, number one, is it the violence? Number two, is it the left-wing woke agendas that are being taught in schools? Like the obsession with the pronouns and gender identity, you know, these stories that you hear about boys' bathrooms now offer tampons. I mean, it's pure madness, which we had a story that I never got to last week, but there's this story of how they have, in one school, in a high school, they installed a tampon dispenser in boys' bathrooms, and apparently the administrators found out that the boys were taking the tampons and just trashing them and flushing them down the toilet. Surprise, surprise, go
Shocking.
figure. Boys doing silly things.
Yeah.
But I think the silly question is, why are there tampons in a men's bathroom? But if you ask that, you're a homophobe. And then the indoctrination, the stuff that we're always talking about, school choice, you know, these left-wing agendas. So I don't know what exactly is causing this. Those are just a few of the theories I think that could be behind it, but it seems like it's happening at a higher rate the higher you go up, whereas teachers are leaving middle schools at a higher rate than elementary schools, and they're leaving high schools actually, I take that back. The middle school was the highest at 10.6%, the high school 8.8%, elementary school 6.4%, which, you know, when you're a teacher, and God bless all the teachers that actually have to deal with these kids. I've always thought, I remember there was a time where I wanted to be a teacher, and I'm like, there's no way I could deal with kindergartners or first graders all day. But now the more I think about it, if I was a teacher, I think I'd actually rather deal with kindergartners, first graders, and second graders as opposed to some of these kids in high schools these days that are either violent or, you know, a total pain in the butt to deal with. I'm not sure if you guys have a theory as to why this is happening, because, and I don't even know that it's salary, because remember we were talking about teachers getting paid, and I was way off base like 2 months ago on the show. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to make 45 grand a year, and everyone was like, no, dude, they make like 70, 80 grand a year to be a teacher now. So I don't think I don't think it's a salary thing either. So what is it? What exactly is causing teachers to leave in Pennsylvania at the fastest rate ever recorded? Fascinating conversation.
Teachers' pensions.
No, their pensions are good. The pay is good.
No, that's what I mean. They're cashing out early.
Cashing out.
Well, I think the truth is that it's a combination of issues, but teachers are on the front lines of everything we're seeing. So think about the teens gone wild. We kind of joked about it in the beginning when we started out at 6 o'clock this morning with all these teenagers, especially down the Jersey Shore, with the new rules that were announced yesterday. But think about it. We have a mental health crisis.
Mm-hmm.
We have the absenteeism that they have to deal with. So kids have gotten into this trend post-pandemic. They're just not showing up. And I think a piece of this is the mental health crisis. And that leads into what you were saying, Nick, about, you know, the violence against teachers, but also just the day-to-day trauma that they have to deal with. And then politically speaking, they're caught in the crossfire of the politics, because on one hand, teachers have to deal with being told, oh, you are required by law to be a first, not responder, but a reporter. So how much does that extend? We saw the lawsuits in Bucks County, for example, where if a kid says I'm being bullied, but then they get down into the weeds of all this pronoun stuff. And so there's a lot of confusion. I've had teachers tell me, you know, how do I deal with this? I'm not supposed to tell the parents. I am supposed to tell. The kid today said they're Sue. Then a week ago they were Sam. I can't keep the pronoun. You know, I'm going to get in trouble. I mean, all of this, there's a swirl of all of this that they are having to deal with.
The politicization of school, to your point, is almost at every single level, right? From when you walk in and you stand. Remember, we used to stand up and hold our hand on the chest and do the Pledge of Allegiance? That's now controversial in schools.
Everything's a controversy.
Everything, to your point, the curriculum, the pronouns, the parents being not informed that their kid identifies as something else. Think about that. So the kid's at home. He gets home at 3:30, and he identifies as what the parent thinks he or she identifies as. But then in school, the kid identifies or wants to identify as something else, and these teachers don't tell the parent that.
Yes, and now couple that with and this is a sad situation, and we'll talk more about it in the big three, but this Delco school bus driver arrested for taping a special needs child on the bus ride.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to also wrap that in with your big take in the beginning when you talked about, girls in sports and Riley Haynes and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard from so many different officials in our region and in the country, parents telling me that part of the budgets, because who pays for all this pronoun stuff and the LGBTQ plus, they have taken from the budgets of special needs care and children.
Terrible.
So these school districts and teachers and officials, they're required under the Americans for Disabilities Act
Mm-hmm.
to provide education, transportation for children with disabilities.
Yeah.
At the same point, we have all of this new stuff, which is meeting the needs of kids with the pronouns and the LGBTQ plus community. So where does the budget, right? You got to squeeze that budget.
Mm-hmm.
So they're taking from the budget of kids with special needs, taking from those budgets and putting it over in the column of the LGBTQ plus, et cetera, as well as the mental health crisis situation.
Yep.
So that now you have teachers and school bus drivers who are on the front lines of dealing with all of this with less resources.
And the politicization doesn't end on Friday at 3:30. Because we talked about these stories in the fall where Friday night high school football games, football team comes running out with the American flag or the thin blue line flag for Police Lives Matter. We've seen football coaches in high school getting fired for having a prayer on the field with their team after a game. So, it starts, the politics in the school system starts from when you do the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning until 9:30 on a Friday night during football season with a post-game prayer. And if you're a teacher and you're probably like, it never ends. I never get a break from any of this political, social world we live in now. We gave you that other story where the kid got sent home for wearing a T-shirt, the 7th grader, that said, there are two genders. They expelled that kid and sent him home. And now I have an update for you coming up later in the show. He's back in school with an altered T-shirt with a new phrase on it. And they're still mad at the kid.
Yeah, and to that point, I'm just going to, all the schools that my kids have gone to, and whether it's a public school or a private school, in my humble opinion, I would not send my kid to school with any T-shirt that says anything because the rule is plain. They don't even want logos.
Yeah.
Like a Nike logo. They don't want any logo, any colors, because they're a gang. There are gangs and drugs. By the way, in Philadelphia, guess what? Even though local media doesn't report on it, guess what, everybody? There are gangs and drugs. So just don't have the logos. Just get that out of there. But get the politics out. And that's why we need curriculum control.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, all this politics and divisiveness and the teachers and the educators are caught right in the crosshairs of all of this.
Yeah. And meanwhile, here in Philadelphia, locally, aspiring Pennsylvania teachers are soon going to be due to be taking a training course in culturally relevant education. If you've seen that headline in the Philadelphia Inquirer, Pennsylvania's culturally relevant teaching guidelines are now actually a thing that is required for all teachers under a new state standard, but it's facing pushback and a lawsuit from a conservative group. So I saw that headline. It's once again, I would like to go through some of these stories from the Inquirer, but they're like 85 pages long. It's like how do you go through all of this on a radio show? I'm going to put in a new rule on Kayal Company. We no longer get stories from the Inquirer because we're killing too many trees. And audiences don't have the attention span to sit through this dissertation.
Well,
just annotate it, summarize.
I do. I try the best I can, but it's like, my God, the Inquirer, they're just thinking about, they got like diarrhea of the fingers. They can't stop typing. Just give me a slideshow.
Cheryl O.D. on YouTube says, as a teacher leaving, I guess she is a teacher leaving, she says, number 1, paperwork. Number 2, administration. Number 3, prolonged C-19 BS. I don't know what that is. And number 4, parents.
Parents are a big one. Parents are a big one. That's one of the reasons why I don't do like any coaching of sports. I don't want to deal with parents. I remember my dad used to be a football coach, just like a peewee coach. And all the parents that used to come up to him and bother him about why their kid this, why their kid's that. I don't know how coaches or teachers deal with parents in this day and age. Because I would have no tolerance for parents. I'd be like, you let me handle it, and you be the parent, I'll be the coach, you be the parent, I'll be the teacher. And I'm not going to try to raise your kid. Because, again, I think, the parents, it's the parent's job to raise the kid. But some of these parents these days, unhinged as they are, no shot. All right, 7:48. It's a Wednesday morning. Let's get to what's on the cut sheet.
What's on the cut sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Wednesday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where Costco members save like $2,500 on the XC40 or $1,000 on other models. These can be combined with other offers. See store for details. Relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. Thank you, Cherry Hill Volvo, for sponsoring the Wednesday edition of What's on the Cut Sheet. Let's get to the CEO of Chick-fil-A, shall we? Because this clip has been making the rounds, and as usual, there's zero context for it. It's a good headline that everybody retweets, and nobody actually reads it or actually reads the story about what it is. Do you people know that this clip is actually from June of 2020? That it's making the rounds now because
3 years later.
3 years later, because the Chick-fil-A is receiving backlash because they are hiring a vice president under their diversity, equity, and inclusion program. So that news came out. So then this clip of CEO Dan Cathy came out where he was in Atlanta, and he was speaking at some church function, and he was there with a black Christian rapper, and he gets on his hands and knees, and he shines his shoes.
Oh, God.
And people are taking that as saying that the CEO of Chick-fil-A wants you to shine African-American shoes in embarrassment.
Okay.
So this is the clip that is making the rounds right now. This is cut 8.
Some of our closing moments here, but a story that was shared with me by a dear friend who shared with me about a revival that was taking place at a church in Texas. And at that revival, on the front seat was an older African-American man that was sitting there. And this young man got up that was there in that service, and he'd been so gripped with conviction about the racism that was in that local community in a small town in Texas that he took a shoe brush, and he walked over to this elderly gentleman, and he knelt on his knees and began to shine his shoes. And tears began to flow in that service. It was an attitude of conviction. So I invite folks to put some words to action here. And if we need to find somebody that needs to have their shoe shine, we need to just go right on over and shine their shoes. And
so he goes over to this
shoes on or not,
this guy.
They got sandals on.
Gets down.
It really doesn't
and
matter.
starts shining his shoes.
But there's a time in which we need to have, some personal action here. Maybe we need to give him a hug too, brother.
And some stock in Chick-fil-A.
But I bought about 1,500 of these, and I gave to all our Chick-fil-A operators and staff a number of years ago. And so any expressions of a contrite heart, of a sense of humility, a sense of shame, a sense of embarrassment, beget with an apologetic heart. I think that's...
So shame, humility, and embarrassment for what?
No, here's to Greg's point about being taken out of context. This is a man at a Christian round table having a conversation.
Yep.
And the conversation is an important one. and he is a devout Christian, and he's quoting the Bible. So this goes from Matthew, Mark, Psalms refers to this, where, Jesus was, and when the Pope came here to Philadelphia, what did he do? He went to local prisons and washed the feet of local prisoners seeking redemption. So it was what they're talking about is the symbolism of forgiving sin, but also this is the teaching of God, the teaching of Jesus. This gentleman, this CEO, is known as a devout Christian.
Right.
I really, really want to push back against somebody taking out of context something that happened in a faith-based service where people are trying to come together and unite. And that's really what he's talking about. What he's talking about, in my humble opinion, is, first of all, being humble, serving others, and ultimately the sin of he's addressing the sin of slavery,
right?
And staining the cloth of our nation. But he's not saying you pointing a finger.
Yeah.
He's saying we all need to unify and come together in humility.
Right.
Here's a man who's very wealthy, but this guy is known as a devout, a devout Christian person.
Yeah. And Chick-fil-A, by and large, is considered to be a Christian Southern restaurant chain, fast food company. Closed, I believe, on Sundays. Obviously, the religious, overtone to the day of Sunday. But here again, my question is, why do you feel compelled? And I say this as somebody who's religious myself, but I don't force it on people. I don't shove it down people's throats, and I don't try to walking around and being holier than thou. It's like, dude, you sell chicken sandwiches. That's what you do.
But he's at a faith-based conference,
right?
And he's allowed to do. He's at a faith.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This is like, what if you went to church and somebody recorded your Sunday school, what you were talking about, and then took it out of context?
Okay.
That, to me, this is wrong. That society, and now conservatives are going, oh boy, he went all woke. No, he didn't. This is specific. This is the scripture. This is Matthew 9, Mark 2.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? This is a man in a Christian religious setting having a conversation about the sin of slavery, but on a broader basis, just talking about why we all need to humble ourselves in general and unite. It's really a beautiful message. And to me, I just think it's a shame that people are taking it out of context.
I just think the average person that enjoys a Southern sweet tea and a chicken sandwich with waffle fries doesn't need to be told about their DEI approach.
But he's not lecturing.
No,
it was a private.
But the story out there in the news cycle now is about Chick-fil-A adding a DEI department. It's the same thing with Uber. You're a taxi cab company. I don't care about your equity and inclusion. Just take me from point A to point B. When I download your app and I get in your car and I pay $52 to drive from A to B, it's just these companies just feel the need to preach to you. No pun intended here with the religious aspect, but I'm just so exhausted by it. Can't we just keep it simple? You sell chicken. You provide transportation. You're the modern day taxi company. Whatever industry you're in, you sell kids' pajamas, Target. Just stick to what works. I don't know.
There are two different. To me, I think that what's going on is that yesterday they announced that this man Eric Reynolds, who's worked for the company, by the way, since 2007. So all they did was give him a raise and put him in charge of this so-called, he was a vice president, now he's vice president of DEI. But that actually happened 2 years ago. 2 years ago, he actually was promoted to VP of DEI 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I think that all of this is being put together. The fact that the CEO had the Bible meeting, and then they're combining that with, yesterday they announced Eric Reynolds. They announced it officially, but he actually has been with the company since 2007. And I think people just thought, here we go.
I think I'm going to get a chicken sandwich at Wendy's today. I think that's what I'm going to do.
You're boycotting Chick-fil-A, Nick?
No.
But actually, I'm of the belief, I've actually said this for a long time, and it has nothing to do with their politics now or anything. I've long thought Chick-fil-A is overrated.
Oh, I 100% agree with
people
that.
preach about it like it's like they invented the chicken sandwich.
Chick-fil-A is very good chicken. It
good,
really
yeah.
is, but it is not the best chicken. It's not the best chicken
Rich
sandwich.
has long said Popeyes is way better.
I agree. With that, yeah.
Yes, I love Popeyes. In
It's
fact, I
all
would have
good.
Popeyes and maybe even I'd go Chick-fil-A over KFC. Popeyes, Chick-fil-A, KFC 1 through 3.
That's so funny.
Chicken power ranking.
I don't know. I think that they're trying to suck another company into it. And since Target and Bud Light and then Kohl's, so now, to me, I think somebody decided, let's look up a conservative company and see what the conservatives do with this.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're taking stuff that actually really happened years ago, and they're conflating it all and going, look, Chick-fil-A is, they've gone woke.
Yeah.
I don't really think
all of these companies, because my sister has told me this, they're all doing it. It might not be public knowledge yet. Like you're only hearing about Target and Bud Light and Chick-fil-A and these companies that we've talked about on the station, but all of them are doing it, and it's just a matter of time until they either publicly say it or
they're all doing DEI. That's in our company too. We probably don't even know. We have a brand manager of DEI, but so they're all doing it because they get taxed.
It's not me, by the way. I'm not the brand manager of DEI. Trust me on that. Trust me on that. I am. I'm marched into these brand manager meetings, and I'm like, okay, what did I do today? Like, did you say this on the radio? Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll shut up. I'll shut up. No, Dawn is correct that they are. These DEI things are a part of every major corporation.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting to me about this is that will Chick-fil-A see the same wrath that Target, Bud Light, what are the other ones? North Face, all the other ones that will they receive the same sort of backlash that those companies did? It'd be interesting to see because conservatives did nothing but praise Chick-fil-A for years.
Yes. So in theory, if you're being consistent with it, the backlash should be at a very feverish pitch, right?
No, because I disagree.
Chevy Mike 30 on YouTube says nuggets are what they should be talking about, not slaves.
Are they tucking their nuggets? That's the question.
I agree. Anytime you get some sort of to Nick's point, just stick to what you do. Sell us chicken sandwiches.
Yeah. I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm just sick of it.
Yeah.
But the difference
I just want your product. That's it.
The difference is Bud Light went out of their way to run a commercial campaign with video of somebody that insulted women, felt insulted, beer drinkers felt insulted.
Mm-hmm.
And it was mostly the marketing lady who spoke out on a podcast and said, those Friday beer boys, we got to get rid of that image. And we created this one. And so that triggered a whole lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Then Target triggered people because why? They created one-piecer swimsuits that look like they're for women, but they marketed it for guys who want to tuck it in their swimsuit. And then they allegedly had onesies for baby boys where they could tuck it, and moms were freaking out over that. But I don't see Chick-fil-A, unless they have a tuck your nugget thing.
Tuck your nugget.
Tuck it, a nugget tuck it event or something. I don't know, Greg Stocker, are they having a tuck it nugget party at Chick-fil-A?
I have no idea.
I'm so exhausted by chicken sandwiches now.
Have you ever?
I'm gonna get a burger tonight. A little red meat. The hell with chicken.
Chick-fil-A is
Eat cows.
Chick-fil-A is overrated. It's always been overrated.
I agree.
I disagree. I think it's delicious. It's all good. I'm always dieting, so it's all delicious to me.
All right, let's get to something we can all agree on.
Yeah.
The View are a bunch of crazy chicks.
Yep.
Yep.
Speaking of chicks.
So Whoopi Goldberg yesterday started off by saying that because, the writer's strike is still going on. We're a month into this. And apparently the writers need to come back so the ladies on The View can be told what to say.
It's Paul's first day doing that. So listen, Kamala Harris, it's also week 4 of the writer's strike. So we're still trying to muddle through. So you'll see the blue cards coming out. We'll be trying to read them, and we hope that this strike is going to come to an end at some point soon so we can, be told what to say again.
Well, either they just have zero creativity and can't get through a show with 5 of them on the panel, and they need the writers to help them get to the finish line, much like a Don Lemon monologue, or they just like being told what to say or what to do.
I just don't understand. They're on the air for an hour, which with commercial breaks is 42 minutes.
Okay, so that shows. I would have thought not. Honest to God, I've never watched it live. I would have thought that was a 2 or 3 hour show.
No, it's a 1 hour show, so it's 42 minutes. There's 5 of them, to your point.
Oh my God.
They need writers to tell them what to say. Here's 3 topics. Research the 3 topics and what you want to say on them and be done.
Geez, and I thought Joy Behar was just naturally stupid. Here her stupidity comes from the writers.
By the way,
I'm not going to complain.
No, go.
I'm not going to complain because they get the blue card it's like a large blue index card.
Yeah.
And all the networks do it. So when I was at CBS, so you have writers, you have producers, you have associate producers, you have staff. And so they do tons of research and they break it down. Like Nick was just saying, Nick was complaining about all these articles, right, that we have to read every single day. We are all reading War and Peace so that we can summarize everything that's happening. They don't have to do that necessarily, which is not necessarily a good thing, but they get the compressed version of it in these blue cards. So it's a summary annotated for you.
I like that. I like that. You know, Daniel Valdez, moving forward, any Philadelphia Inquirer articles will not be printed in full. They will just have 4 bullet points. You will type them up, use a yellow highlighter, and print it for me.
But see, that takes a full staff. So how many staffers do they have, Greg? How many writers?
I can't imagine how many writers they have. They must have. Each one has. I can almost guarantee you each member of the show has their own producer.
Yep.
So plus writers, plus the executive who's running. So plus camera people. There's all kinds of people that I guess put the thoughts in their dopey heads.
You know, you would think though
they're big, empty, dopey heads
because they are technically opinionists, right? Their job is to opine on the issues of the day. Wouldn't you want to formulate your own opinion and find your own little nuggets or facts or, you know, a different twist to something that has been regurgitated by 5 other people already? I personally, and it's one of the things I love about this show is, you know, we get an email, right? Greg will send an email with 7 or 8 stories. I'll find 7, 8, 9 different stories, whatever it is. And then we take some of those stories, we put it together on a document and say, okay, here's what we're going to talk about. And if we get to it, we get to it. If we don't, we don't. Whatever happens organically makes for better radio. Like, I enjoy the creative process. I couldn't work in that environment. Everyone's like, would you ever consider doing TV? And I'm like, outside of doing it for the money, I wouldn't enjoy it. Because I like the raw, unscripted element of radio.
I do too.
And not being boxed in for 42 minutes with 5 people and note cards.
Yes.
That's not authentic.
And you each get your own segment and you each get your own.
Yeah.
And it's like you have 5 minutes to say this and 5 minutes to say that and you're out. And it's just, there's no. And by the way, we do it for 4. Dawn does it for 6. Like Rich does it for 4. Dom does it. Like, we all have 5 days a week. Like I'm not trying to, play the world's smallest violin for us because, we enjoy our work. It's a good job. I like it. I enjoy it. But it's hard work coming up with stuff to talk about every day for 4 hours.
Speaking of that, do you have any ideas for the big take tomorrow? Because I'm all out. I have a writer's break in my head right now.
A brain cramp?
Yeah, brain cramp. Let's keep going with the View. They were talking about Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris's unfavorability rating or favorability rating, whatever you want to call it. Sunny Hostin has a reason that Vice President Harris does not have a good favorability rating.
Oh,
I'm sure you guys know what that reason is.
Yes,
but we'll let Sunny. This is in the middle of a conversation between her and Alyssa Farah Griffin or whatever her name is about Kamala Harris.
And she will, fairly or unfairly, be the most scrutinized vice president in history because she's running with the oldest president running for president.
And she's also a black woman.
But I think you have to be able to fairly critique the vice president of the United States without just saying it's the color of their skin or the fact she's a woman.
But it is part of it.
Why? What makes you say that?
Well, we're in the United States of America.
But like with like someone like me saying it, do you think I could have a legitimate policy?
No, It's not you. It's just we're in the United States of America, and black women, and this is just not me saying it. I mean, there have been studies. Black women are considered less articulate. They are considered uglier. They are considered all of these things
beautiful, I would
by this country, and it's because of the history, of course, of misogyny and
But it's also
sexism.
just women. I mean, Jerry Ferraro back in the day ran for vice president, and they went after her too.
And that's the misogyny part. But when you mix the misogyny and the racism,
I'm sorry,
it's extra. It's a little extra. But I understand why they are boosting her at this point, and they want to boost her because no Democratic nominee can win the general election without the black vote. I mean, that is just a fact. And when she became the vice presidential candidate, I have a picture of all the women from the Divine Nine strolling to vote because of her.
Right.
And so I think that she probably, in many respects, won that election for him. And so black voters saved his campaign in 2020. They could also be why he loses it in 2024.
Boy, that must be a great gig being one of the writers for The View. Hey, here's a nugget for you. I think Kamala is not getting the approval rating she deserves because she's a black female. Why don't you say that on air today, Sonny? I think that'll stir up the social media channels.
What an absurd.
Of course, because it's always about identity and it's always about being a victim. It has nothing to do with the fact that Kamala Harris is completely in over her head. It has nothing to do with the fact that she was dubbed the border czar and had the worst border on record in American history. And she's probably one of the worst public speakers we have ever seen. And I don't need to go onto my soundboard and rattle off the Venn diagrams and the electric school buses. And nothing to do with her being a female or being black. She's just not good at the job.
Remember when Mike Pence debated Kamala Harris? He was textbook. He was flawless in that debate. And all anybody talked about was the fly in his hair.
Yeah.
And the reason for that was, I mean, he was perfect. It was a slam dunk. He beat her on every count, and nobody wanted to admit the obvious. It had nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman. It had nothing to do with her ethnicity, which I believe she is. Her dad is Jamaican American, mom from India. So, she's a brilliant, beautiful lawyer, etc. Nobody thought she was inarticulate or anything of that nature. It's a shame. It's really an insult to Kamala Harris.
It really is.
If you think about it.
Yeah. Because she's not the when people have that stereotypical black woman in mind, like Sunny Hostin is referencing, like she's not any of that.
No.
To Dawn's point, she's I have to be careful what I say, but she's not the stereotypical black woman that Sunny Hostin has in her mind when she says that America hates black women, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and
it's ridiculous.
To be honest, I'm not sure that she resonates with a vast majority of African American females either.
Yeah,
I really don't think that's the case. Like they use her.
Agreed.
As like hey, we checked off a couple of boxes here: first female VP, first black female VP, the whole bit. And if you tracked Kamala Harris's career prior to becoming vice president, She was a badass prosecutor. Like, she locked people up. She was the opposite of, oh my God.
Alvin Bragg.
Of Alvin Bragg, yes, or any of the Soros-funded DAs. Yep.
Yeah, and by the way, she ran for president, if you remember, and, to Sonny's point about how they need the black vote, like, she brought the black vote out for Joe Biden. Joe Biden did just fine getting the black vote by himself in the primaries. He won South Carolina. He won because of the black vote. Kamala Harris was up against him. Mm-hmm. So for all these people that voted for her just because she's black is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thought that they're just that black people are just going to vote for her because she's black. Mm-hmm. That is ridiculous.
It's actually insulting to people's intelligence.
It is.
If you think about it, right? Like, you're just, it's the lowest common denominator. Well, she's black, so I'm going to vote for her.
She had 1% of the vote in the primaries.
Mm-hmm.
in places that she probably could have won or should have won if all the black people came out to vote for her because she's black.
And Joe's doing a great job now of losing the black support. He's down, 30%, I believe, right? Down from 83% to 52%?
Well, if you think that's idiocy, Sunny Hostin, again, tells you to hold her beer.
Oh, boy.
Because she says, Dawn, this is for you, white women only vote GOP because that's what their husbands want.
Wow.
White women want to protect the patriarchy.
Dawn only votes Republican because Larry tells her to.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
All right, white woman. She's going to explain to you.
I have a similar theory, and it's borne out when you look at the studies and when you read books like it's a book that came out a long time ago about she owned property as well, meaning white women owned slaves as well. I think that white women in particular, want to protect this patriarchy here because it's to their benefit. Yeah. They want to make sure that their husbands do well. They want to make sure that their sons do well. They want to make sure that their children do well. And they want to make sure that they do well. Most of the women in some of these studies are married white women, and they do fall in line with what their husbands are doing, how their husbands are voting.
Wow.
That was a racist, sexist statement.
Fall in line with what your husband's doing, lady, all right?
She just think about it, though. She just made a racist, sexist statement.
Yep.
That's false.
But it's okay. It's okay because they're on the right side of the ledger. Richard Notaro says, those hens on The View have criticized Nikki Haley, who is a woman of color. Is it because they are racist and misogynist? Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
Eric the Red, real quick. Wait a minute. I just thought those ladies on The View spewed idiotic nonsense from the cavity between their ears. Now you're telling me they can't even generate it on their own?
And by the way, women and all women, whether white women, whatever their ethnicity, black and brown women, you know what the best times economically were for all women, including black and brown and white women? Yeah, under DJT, by the way. Just look at the stats. The numbers speak for themselves.
Oh,
it's about the economy.
We can't
have stats to back that up.
You're not allowed to use numbers.
And I
Dawn.
do.
Okay. You got to use feelings and narrative. Numbers don't matter.
I have the numbers.
All right, show me those numbers then.
I love. You want me to show you my 401k? Let's start there. 401ks plural.
Speaking of the budget and the money and debt ceilings, Karine Jean-Pierre yesterday said, you did a big take on the debt ceiling, the debt limit negotiations, and how they
McCarthy case.
I was setting you up. I was setting you up so you could say that.
I'm so sick of that guy, by the way.
Well, you'll have plenty of time to opine about that because Karine Jean-Pierre said that from the beginning, the Biden administration would negotiate with Republicans.
And the president said from the beginning that he would negotiate with Republicans on a budget, just like it has been done every year.
So that's what she said yesterday. Unfortunately, we have the receipts that show that is absolutely not what she said.
Shocking.
Starting from February of this year, February, March, April, May, June's over. So 4 months ago, here's a montage of Karine Jean-Pierre saying actually the opposite of what she said yesterday.
We don't see any negotiation here. We don't see anything that needs to be discussed. It's pretty simple and it's pretty straightforward. We believe that Congress has a constitutional duty to get this done. The president's stance on negotiation stands, right, which is he does not believe, as it relates to the debt ceiling, that we should be negotiating. We've been very clear. We're not going to negotiate on the debt ceiling. He never came to the table to negotiate on the debt ceiling. That was not something that occurred. That is not something that's happening. We've been very clear. We're not negotiating around the debt ceiling. When you think about the debt limit, it is not negotiable. We should not be negotiating on the debt ceiling. There's no negotiation that we will be having. The debt ceiling, it should be done without negotiation. There should be no negotiation. This should be done without conditions. We should not have to negotiate on this. Look, we've been very clear. We're not going to negotiate. We're just not going to negotiate on that.
And then she would refer you to the White House counsel.
And the president said from the beginning that he would negotiate with Republicans on a budget, just like it has been done every year.
She's wrong.
Yeah, she's wrong, and Kevin McCarthy gets under my skin. And I don't want to rehash the big take from yesterday, so I'll add a different wrinkle to this because I was completely down on McCarthy, pounding his chest, trying to take a victory lap for what he supposedly accomplished over the Memorial Day weekend. But I'll just recite the attorney that I used to work for in Tennessee, and she was a Republican, big-time Trump supporter, and she would always tell me that 90% of the attorneys in Nashville were liberals, and she and her fellow conservatives would have to keep it to themselves and be quiet about it. But she was so disgusted with politics, and she said to me one day, and I'll try to imitate her voice. She said, "You know something, Nick? I'm starting to believe that this whole political thing with Democrats and Republicans is nothing like more than a football scrimmage where you think they're on opposite ends of the team because they have different colored jerseys on, but the reality is it's all theater and nonsense just to keep us distracted."
It's true.
That was
she's 100% right.
My old boss, Lisa.
One more, and then we'll get to Dawn's Big Three, and then Tony Bruno.
Oh, that's right. We got Bruno.
Karine Jean-Pierre says, to your point, the debt limit bill successfully protected our core Democratic policies, which I guess doesn't speak very well for Kevin McCarthy, but I guess
But
not.
the president successfully protected core Democratic priorities and the historic economic progress that we have made over the last 2 years. Now, the House and the Senate, it's up to them. They must pass this bill so that the president can sign it into law.
It's almost like an instructional video. The House and the Senate will have to do this, and then the president will sign it into law. It's like Kamala with her preaching to, she's talking to kindergartners there.
William Gibson on YouTube says 31 Republicans will vote no on the bill. The list is out. So,
Well, we did hear from Bishop in Georgia saying hold the line or something to that effect.
The talking point matters here, and I understand the frustration. But this was teed up months ago, and so Republicans are getting played. Why? Because we know that his power is limited. He's doing what he can. He doesn't control the Senate, and he has a teeny weeny bit of control of his own House. Mm-hmm. Remember, to become Speaker, basically a small majority can vote to boot him. So he got somewhat of a deal. He did what he could do. And in my opinion, this is the best he's going to get. This is as good as it gets.
Oh, boy.
And so even though that stinks, and I understand the frustration, please, 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 everybody, look at the headlines this morning. Look at the New York Times. Look at CNN. All the networks are saying all the Democrats and Biden, they've come together, and they're trying to get this done. But, these Republicans, so they know that the poll numbers for Biden have been horrible, and what they're saying is now they're going to turn this talking point and make it a win for Biden. This is all about 2024 and saying, hey, Biden, don't blame him for the economy. Look at those rowdy Republicans, those MAGA, most conservative Republicans. That's what they're going to do.
A lot of those people, though, are, their biggest fear about Kevin McCarthy, that he was a swamp creature and a rhino, has come to fruition through this. That's all I'm saying. I'm looking at the tea leaves from people who are just like...
People are pissed.
I get it.
They're pissed, yes.
I get it, but if you're to be angry now and to not back up the truck, folks, and look at what happened, even going back to last December before he was Speaker. And so this was all teed up, and the Democrats played this, and they continue to play the Republicans.
Yep. All right, 855-839-1210, the number. Bruno joins us in a couple of minutes, but first, let's get to Dawn Stenzelin and her Big 3 at 8.
It's the Big 3 at 8 on Kayal Company.
We are sponsored by Best Work Industries for the Blind this morning. So I was going to talk about the debt ceiling, but we already talked about that. That vote expected today. And so we will see Republican unrest. That's the headline in the New York Times, as they say, can Republicans behave as the members of a well-functioning political party would? Behave. That's the question. Will MAGA Republicans behave? That's the headline in all the liberal so-called mainstream media. Speaking of behaving, number 2, because we got to get to Bruno behaving. What about behaving at the beach? Ocean City now announcing last night it's shutting the beaches down early, citing those misbehaving teenagers. So all the beaches, Ocean City, New Jersey, closed by 8 p.m., and carrying backpacks will not be permitted after 8 p.m. on the beach or the boardwalk. New rules applying to all ages, not just the kids. So sending a strong message to teens and their parents that public areas will no longer be open to these mass gatherings. They are reporting 999, why don't they just say 1,000 in Ocean City? But they had nearly 1,000 of these incidents with police over since Memorial Day weekend. They've had enough with all the bad behavior. And what are they blaming? And that's the big picture here. Whether you're looking at Sea Isle City, whether you're looking at Ocean City, New Jersey, they're all saying that this has to do with the Governor Phil Murphy administration. They've essentially tied the hands of law enforcement and police officers. And they've made the rules so the cops can't even talk to the kids. They can't search the juveniles. They cannot confiscate alcohol. The legislation in New Jersey also eliminates meaningful consequences for juveniles who break the law. That's the big picture of what's going on. And now you see what's going on down the shore. That's the big story. Number 3, I'll stay down the shore. Did you see that a great white shark named Penny is pinging off of Ocean City, New Jersey? This is a 500-plus pound great white shark just off 16th Street, Ocean City, New Jersey.
522 pounds. A great white. That's racist, I think.
Dun, 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 dun,
We're going to
dun,
need
dun.
a bigger boat, Dawn.
So Best Work Industries for the Blind's e-commerce store is helping businesses succeed in all work environments. BestWorkSupplyCenter.com, offering traditional office products, cleaning supplies, furniture technology, and more with free shipping and next-day delivery. Shop now. Save at bestworksupplycenter.com. That's it for the big 3.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. Coming up next, the man with the permanent Twitter ban, Tony Bruno, joins us for a good 30 minutes, and we'll do it on the other side of Kayal Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The year is nearly half over, and you're still dealing with that knee or hip pain. Enough is enough. Pills are not the answer. Surgery is not the answer. You need to call QC Kinetics right now. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. The advanced regenerative medicine solutions at QC Kinetics can give you a life without that chronic joint pain. And you can do all those summer activities that you used to enjoy. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking healing properties from your own body so your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. Patients across America are having life-changing results. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. If you're suffering with joint pain in your knees, hips, back, shoulders, you need to stop what you're doing. Call QC Kinetics now. Get a free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can give you your life back. Call now, 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. QC Kinetics. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Retiring from the workforce gives you opportunities you may have been unable to take advantage of during your working years. New passions, more time with the people you love. In fact, if you are over age 62, own a home, and have equity in it, you can extend your retirement runway by borrowing against that equity while owning your home's title. Guaranteed Rate launches Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. Unlike other equity loans, HECM is FHA insured. HECMs flip the roles of lender and borrower, where the borrower receives payments from the lender in the form of a line of credit or a simple lump sum for vacations, major purchases, gifts, or even home improvements. You'll have no more monthly mortgage payments. Find out more about home equity conversion mortgage at rate.com/HECM-mortgage. This is not a commitment to lend. For all terms and conditions, visit rate.com/HECM-mortgage.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Do you want a beautiful home that's easy to maintain? I've been telling you about a great company that does just that. John Gilgee is here to tell you in his own words. Take it away, my friend.
Hello, it's John from Rhino Shield, reminding you that spring is here and Rhino Shield is ready to help you paint your home. for the last time. Our permanent exterior house paint is not ordinary paint. It's a ceramic house coating that goes on like paint and looks like paint, but is guaranteed for 25 years. If your home's exterior isn't looking as good as you'd like, Rhino Shield is the solution you've been looking for. It's affordable because you only have to paint one last time, and it protects your home with a durable and waterproof coating that goes on any exterior surface. Find out why so many of your neighbors are choosing the permanent paint solution from Rhino Shield by calling to schedule your free estimate today at 844-RHINO-99. That's 844-744-6699.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Wendy's $3 breakfast deal is a bacon or sausage egg croissant plus small seasoned potatoes for $3. It's the breakfast that don't miss. So if you did miss Wendy's breakfast, don't imagine. Fresh cracked eggs, sizzling sausage, crispy bacon, and block out those hot, buttery, flaky croissants. Croissants don't really make a sound, but if they did, for a breakfast that don't miss, Wendy's is that breakfast. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Select a request $3 breakfast deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte combo orders.
Free speech lives here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And on the free Odyssey app.
Don't you love her madly?
828. Kayal Company as we continue here on this Wednesday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. You can stream us live on the free Odyssey app. You can watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT every other Wednesday. You know what we do from 8:20 or thereabouts up until 9 o'clock. We chat with our man, the man with now the permanent Twitter ban.
No!
The great Tony Bruno. You know, Bruno, I got to tell you, man, it had a rough week for Elon Musk and Twitter. First, his Twitter Spaces with DeSantis crashes and burns for the first 15 minutes last week. And now, Twitter, from what I gather, has responded to your beautifully worded email, and they can't give you an answer as to why you are banned from their app. What's going on, man?
Well, you know, it is a national outrage, and I think the entire country today should make note of it on the final day of May. We should all go to Ocean City on the boardwalk, head out to the Music Pier, and scream, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore."
Woo! Really pisses me off.
So
no, I mean, it's you know, the amazing thing is I've had a lot of people, you know, in the tech world saying, "Oh, I know Elon Musk, and I got connections at the Babylon Bee who are real close with Elon," and they always, you know, sending in appeals on my behalf. And I don't know if you saw it. I want to thank my buddy Kevin Kincaid over there at Crossing Broad. He actually ran the whole story, including the quotes of the letters that I got, because the very first thing when I got suspended 73 days ago today, if you're keeping score at home, and if you are, congratulations. If you're scoring at home, or even if you're alone, as we used to say back in the Sports Center days, 73 days, but it appears it's over. It appears it's over. I will never, ever get my Twitter account back, nor will I ever be allowed to create a new account, despite the fact that I only had one account for 14 years. It's now over, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know what to do. I mean, I have Facebook, but, you know, the one good thing about not being able to go on Twitter is that I'm actually getting stuff done around the house. You know, I'm out working on my boat. I'm crabbing in my backyard. You know, I'm doing all the important things in life. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I mean, on Friday last week, you posted the video of how to make the perfect, I would assume, jumbo lump crab cake. And you're sitting there, and this is the greatest thing about Bruno. He's sitting there making the crabs, right? He's busting the shells up. He's got all the tools and all the utensils. His shirt is
a
off.
Nutcracker and a little pick. You got to pick the lump meat out of the back fins. And I didn't even have to go to Ocean City. The best part about not going down to the Jersey Shore to look for crabs. I mean, I used to get crabs when I went to Wildwood, but I was a kid, and that was a long time ago. under the boardwalk. Under Hunt's Pier, there were plenty of crabs available back in the day. But no, so the good thing, right, as I said, when I had a boat down in Margate, I used to have to drive from Gwinnett all the way to Margate just to go see my boat, which is fun. That was a weekend trip, and that was my summer home. But now I have a boat in my back right behind my house, literally 20 yards from going down the steps, not even, and I'm on my boat, and I have a crab pot, and I have a legal permit now to crab in my backyard.
Crab and
I
carry.
pull up the crab pot and I get these 7-inch blue claws. So they're not just in Maryland, they're all up and down the eastern seaboard. They're in Louisiana. So we want to praise the blue claw crab for procreating and continuing to provide us with the best lump crab meat available. And if you go into the supermarket, you buy one of those canned, pasteurized, refrigerated ones for like $30 a pound.
Yep.
They come from Indonesia.
Oh.
And again, they're still good crab meat, but I want the local best lump crab meat, and I'm going to start my own Captain Tony's Cape Coral crabs.
Oh, you better not tell Don Giordano about that.
Right here.
By the way, Tony, we're streaming live on YouTube, and everybody's telling you to just join TikTok.
I'm on TikTok. No, I'm not on. Am I on TikTok? Rob?
Am I on
Robin sets
TikTok?
up
Or
my social
Insta.
media.
Or Insta. Thank you, Dawn.
I'm on Instagram.
Tony is on TikTok, on Instagram. He's just not active.
Okay.
Exactly. I'm a senior, but I'm not active.
Exactly.
As we used to say. Yes.
Well, you could always
And I
go.
keep
You could
telling
always go to Rumble or go to Truth.
Nah. No, I don't want to do that.
Tony's on Truth now as well.
I am? I didn't know that. I was on Truth when I was on Twitter, but now there's no Truth anymore.
No, it's just fake news, Tone. But
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
One thing that is not fake news: the 76ers have gone from a doc to a nurse.
Oh.
Your thoughts? Are the Sixers now
I think
champions?
President Biden has checked in.
Oh.
Simply not true.
No, it's not a real nurse, just like Dr. Jill isn't a real doctor, Mr. President. And so Nick Nurse is not a nurse, and Doc Rivers is not a doctor.
That's
but
correct.
The best part of all, listen, Nick Nurse did a fine job, but it's amazing. All these coaches, and the same thing happens in hockey. A coach gets fired, and then the next day he's on a list of 7 guys who's up, and Doc Rivers is on a list of whatever openings there still are. So that's the amazing thing. At least Nick Nurse only had one chance, and Doc Rivers may get another job. But that's the world of we have to keep going out and recycling coaches to make fan bases feel like, well, Nick Nurse, look what he did in Toronto.
Yep.
Then why did they get rid of him?
Mhm.
You know, I mean, so I think the shelf life now of coaches is the shortest it's ever been. You don't even get a season or 2 seasons. Look what happened with the Eagles. They won a Super Bowl. Their coach is gone the next year.
Yeah.
And so it's no longer you get that pass for, especially in Philly where the Eagles had won a Super Bowl. They win. You think, Doug Peterson's safe for another decade, right? He'll never have to buy another drink in Philly. That's not the case. A year later, something goes bad and they want you out. So. And that's what happens in sports. And now, the same thing with the NBA. The 76ers are going to have to hit the reset button, and they're going to have to start again. And who knows what's going to happen with Joel Embiid. And so the process failed, and we've talked about it before. That's why you have to have fresh. And by the way, speaking of debt ceilings, I'd like to announce this on the last day of May, on this What Up Wednesday, May 31st.
Yeah.
There will be no negotiation on my mortgage, rent, credit card, every other bill that is due tomorrow, June 1st. There will be no negotiation. Kevin McCarthy can kiss my butt. Joe Biden and KJP. I hope they address this on The View today, because I want to hear what Sonny and the gals have to say about my debt basement. Forget about debt ceiling.
Yeah.
My debt basement has been achieved. And so I don't know what to do. Should I not pay my bills? What happens if I said, you know what? And by the way, you know how much money I saved on this year's Memorial Day barbecue?
No.
Zero. It cost me like 20 times more than it did. Remember when we used to do that? This weekend, thanks to the president, you're going to save 34 cents on your holiday festivities.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, right. How much did people save this weekend on fresh lobsters and all the other stuff?
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
Tony Bruno, the icon, the man, the myth, the legend, with us here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. I got to get your take on this, because you've worked at ESPN. You worked at ESPN 30 years ago when they were not the company they are today. Now we've got stories, and I mentioned this in my big take this morning. Now, Sam Ponder is this conservative female, works at, ESPN, full of liberals and progressives and Democrats. And now you have female on female attacking when it comes to women trying to defend women in women's sports. Sam Ponder says basically, I think it's completely unfair, Tony, that biological men can come into female sports and dominate them, to which you get one of these woke-triggered writers for the USA Today who writes a column about Sam Ponder and calls her a bigot. Can you believe where we are at today, where we have females attacking females for defending female sports?
I know, and God forbid if you're a man defending females who should be playing female sports instead of men. Even MMA fighters are now dudes beating up women in the octagon.
Exactly.
And so, but that used to be common sense. And we live in a world, as we discuss almost every minute of every day, which I try not to do anymore because my head's going to explode to try to get the logic. That's what's surprising about the Twitter thing. Again, I know people saying, I'm tired of you talking about the Twitter thing. It's over. They're not going to do anything. There's no, Mumia Abu-Jamal, what's his name? The guy who killed the cop in Philly, he's had more appeals than I have. And he's still going on like 35 years after he killed the cop in Philly in cold blood. And so my appeals are over. I've exhausted all my appeals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I want to know from Elon Musk and all of you free speech absolutists, do I get another appeal or no?
I know.
No. Don't.
Okay, thank you. That's it. It's over.
Back to Sam Ponder.
Listen, ponder this. And she's married to Christian Ponder, the former quarterback.
That's right.
I think it was with the high draft pick with the Vikings, right?
Yes.
Again, the amazing thing about Disney, and I love Disney, they shut down Splash Mountain for the last time last night. I don't know if you saw that. That's the big story today. Splash Mountain at both Disneyland and Disney World closed their doors for the last time so they can reimagine it because of the 40-year ride that has now been determined to be racist because of the Zippity-Doo-Dah song.
Yep.
Yet the new ride is going to be the same ride. They'll just go in there and put Disney characters from one of their movies in. That's what they've done. All the woke rides now suddenly get a redo they started with the Pirates ride, of course, where they put Johnny Depp in there. So it's all about marketing. And Song of the South, people will say it's a racist. I thought it was a story about how the slaves rose up, right? Didn't the slaves rise up in the Song of the South?
Yeah.
To basically make fools of the people who held them as slaves? So I don't understand it. Common sense is gone.
Yes.
It's absolutely gone. And again, I don't care. I like Splash Mountain, because the good thing about Splash Mountain, you go to Disney, whether it was in Anaheim where it's 1,000 degrees or in Orlando where it's 1,000 degrees in the summer, you go in there, you get wet, and you wanted to get wet when you won that last splash. So now they got to reimagine it. The Imagineers are rolling over in their graves. Walt Disney is rolling his head, his frozen head up above Main Street in Disneyland in Anaheim, California, is rolling over in his what are they, cryogenic chamber up there atop Main Street, USA.
There you go. Tony Bruno, breaking it down. How about that? Fired up on a Wednesday. I knew you'd be ready to go today. I could feel
I'm
it.
never leaving it in the locker room like the Phillies left it in the locker room in New York last night. I'm not leaving anything in the locker room. You take it out and you bring it out on the field and you go hard every single day.
Exactly. Now, I got two stories that I got to get your take on because you're a well-traveled guy. I mean, you've gone from Bristol to Florida, from Philly to the Bay Area to Los Angeles to Alabama. You've been all over this country. Yeah! Exactly right. What's that, a little Howard Dean right there?
Howard Dean.
Love a good Howard Dean.
And we're going to go all the way to the White House. Okay.
Now, if I recall correctly, you're Catholic, correct, Tony? Or you grew up Catholic?
I'm a bad Catholic, like Joe Biden.
Okay.
I'm like Joe Biden. I don't go to. Well, Joe goes to church and makes the ceremonial appearance, so that they have camera crews there. I don't even go to church anymore, unfortunately, or unfortunately, whatever.
Well,
you know what I mean? There's a lot of Catholic churches here, but the good thing about Catholic churches here in Florida is you can still go in flip-flops, tank tops, and shorts. You know what I mean? You don't have to get dressed to go to church anymore.
All right, it's like you can dress just like I do to come in and do this radio show.
True.
Exactly.
Yes.
Beautiful. So this will tie right into, this is like a perfect thing for your wheelhouse. So you've got Catholics, you've got the Los Angeles Dodgers, You've
Yep.
got Sam Brinton, who used to be a part of the Biden administration. And I'm sure you saw this story about how the Dodgers were placating to this group of fringe trans drag community members. And they were basically mocking nuns and Catholics and Christians. And the Dodgers kind of walked it back and tried to, curtail this and get rid of this. And then they basically caved and allowed it to happen. And then we find out that Sam Brinton, our favorite kleptomaniac from the former Biden administration, he's a part of this group as well. And I said this to Dawn on the air. I said, this would never, the Dodgers could not pull this off if this drag community was mocking Muslims or any other religious faith. But Catholics and Christians, it's fair game, Tone.
Now, this group has been around for a while. These dudes, they wear mustaches, so they're not pretending. They're not even thinking that they're not transitioning. They're dudes who dress up as nuns. And Robin and I have been in the Bay Area a million times. We used to go up every weekend. So we've seen the gay pride parades. We watched them. So we're not anti-trans or any of that stuff. I don't care what people do in their personal sex lives. But the situation, here's the part that makes it really ridiculous, Nick. When they announced that they were bringing these people onto the field on their Pride Night celebration, the Catholic community, which includes, remember, Hispanics, baseball players, and fans at Dodger Stadium, which are a majority of the fan base, is now Hispanic, and most Hispanics are devout Catholics or Christians, but mostly Catholics. The players are Catholics. You see these guys make the sign of the cross. So because the Catholic community in Los Angeles said, hey, you know what, this is ridiculous. You can't mock nuns and bring nuns out on the field, guys dressed as nuns who are mocking the religion, and so they backed off. They got a ton of response. So they said, okay, all right, we're not going to bring them out. Then a fringe minority group comes back and says, no way, screw it, and then they cave. They cave. So the majority of people who are Catholics who thought this was offensive to their religious beliefs, just like the shot, people who had religious exemptions, they said, screw you. And now they're saying the same thing to the Catholic community. And I tell you what, if Tommy Lasorda were still alive today, imagine what he would be saying about this nonsense with the Dodgers.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Somebody's saying Tony's voice
is your machine
now.
Is your machine not working?
No. It's an outrage. Did I say it's an outrage?
Oh,
it's
an
outrage.
There we go. I was waiting for you to hit the drop. I didn't want to step on you there, Tone.
Yes.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, Tommy Lasorda, Norristown zone, man.
Absolutely.
Come on, man.
It's just the stuff that we talk about. I mean, like, for example, all the View. If the View, more people know about the View than watch the View. The television shows, Gutfeld and all these shows that make fun of it and play the clips. And then you play all these clips of Sunny Hostin. The amazing thing about Sunny Hostin, the best part is, here she is talking about the average black woman, is not dumb. Who said they are? But here's the thing. I guarantee you, Sunny Hostin, if she's at some event with Lizzo and all these other modern-day black women, who speak the culture language, like when Obama would get up there and pretend that he was black, 100% black, and he'd get all, you know what I mean? He'd use the black jargon. You know what I mean? When you use black jargon, the culture. And I have no problem with it. I have no problem with people speaking the way they do. But to pretend that a woman who's whiter than I am, for God's sake, a woman who's had more privilege than I've ever had in my lifetime or anybody in my family's lifetime, is telling white women that they're the racist and they're the ones who are responsible for for slavery.
Yeah.
Well, how many white women had slaves that you know of? Now, I've had some slaves myself, but they were volunteer slaves. Slavery. Most of the slaves modern day, they the ones with the cuffs, with the furry cuffs, they're voluntary slaves. And when you're a voluntary slave, you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't, actually. I do not. Jeez. All right,
I don't know about you, but I do everything that Tony says.
Exactly right.
Wow.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
What's happening
sure.
there?
8:45. Hello.
But is he ever your slave, Robin?
That's a good question, Dawn. It's a very good question.
Yeah, let's just let Dawn and Robin hash this out. Just put my feet up and relax for a couple minutes. All right, Bruno, final one on the sports and social issues that we got to get to, and this is in your wheelhouse.
And social issues
we do every day, Tony.
I thought the Sam Ponder was a sports and social issue story.
Yeah, well,
and by the way,
as
USA
was the Dodgers.
Today, USA Today. I mean, they don't even give it away in hotels anymore like they used to.
I
They stick
know.
it in front of your door. I mean, that just shows you how pathetic all these writers are who try to, especially the USA Today. They had this Dan Wolkin guy in there who's a total joke, and I had him on my show once, and I tore into him for being a phony and a liar.
Yep.
And then this woman, what's her name?
Nancy
Something
Arbor.
No relation to Al Arbor.
Right, or
the
Under
late,
Armour.
great coach. Or Under Armour, yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, it's a joke. You read that column. Anybody who reads that column, I recommend you don't even give USA Today a click. How are they still in business is my big question.
Speaking of a joke, let me get your thoughts on this. So the NBA is all about their social justice and their social justice awards. Apparently now they have the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Champion that they give on an annual basis. And Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors was able to win this. Here's the quote I'm going to read for you, and then we're going to point out the hypocrisy. I want to get your thoughts on this. So
Wait, there's hypocrisy involved here?
Oh, there always is, Tony. Who knew that, right? So the NBA says Steph Curry prioritizes uplifting communities by fostering equity and creating access to opportunity. As a co-chair of former First Lady Michelle Obama's When We All Vote initiative, Curry uses his platform to drive voter registration, education, and turnout, most recently during the 2022 election season. But what they failed to mention is how Steph Curry, basically him and his wife, blew a gasket that they were going to build and create this accessibility to this neighborhood with multi-unit townhomes for more affordable housing in California that would kind of push up on the backyard of Steph Curry's $30 million home. Him and his wife basically petitioned and fought this and wrote a letter and did the whole bit. So think about that hypocrisy, Tony. This guy is the Social Justice Award winner, and yet he's basically saying, yeah, affordable housing next to my palatial estate. No, I'm good. No, thank you.
That's the way it is. It's the way with all. Listen, Steph Curry. One of the things about Steph is that he's a very likable guy. I've met him. He's cut promos for me, and so he's just he's a guy that you look at and you say, now that's a great player. He represents all that's good. He doesn't get in trouble and all the other. I think John Morant should have gotten that award. I mean, look what he's done for the NBA. Look what he's done, for the ATF and for the people out there who want to carry guns and want to be. Want to get out loose with the boys despite having a $300 million contract he's going to burn up in a couple of days.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with that. The bottom line is this. Just like with up there at Cape Cod, when they wanted to put all the windmills out there and John Kerry and all of his sailboat buddies up there in New England, they go, no, we don't want any windmills out there when I can look outside of my mansion on my beach that's going to be underwater. And how many years are we away now from us all being underwater? When that stuff happens, we don't want that, and not in my neighborhood. So that's the hypocrisy of the elites. Steph Curry, great kid, great family, but he's an elite. And when you're an elite, you don't allow things that are not elite in your neighborhood, or you don't want things that are not elite in your neighborhood. That's the privilege. That's privilege. That's real privilege.
Exactly. All right, Bruno, final one for you. I've tried to avoid talking about this team until after Memorial Day, but Memorial Day has come and gone. Your thoughts on our Philadelphia Phillies just kind of stuck in neutral, 6.5 games out of first and 4 games below 500. Is it time to shake things up? Should we fire was it Rob Thompson, the manager?
Rob Thompson, I loved him in, what group was he in?
Matchbox 20.
Matchbox 20, lead
Yes.
singer. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Rob Thomas.
I think, what I think about is when you look at the Phillies team and you say, last year about this time, didn't they fire their manager?
Yeah,
At the
Girardi.
same time,
Joe Girardi,
right?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, what is Joe Girardi thinking right now? I mean, you think about, and then they went out there, and they made all these changes. They bring Trey Turner in, and obviously he's struggling. This whole team's struggling, and the pitching is struggling, and they can't put anything together. They'll win one game, and everybody gets excited. Then they go out and lose 4 in a row.
Yep.
And then they come back and win 3 in a row. Then they lose 5 in a row. So it's just, this is the part of a long, you got to take it one day at a time. You know what I mean? But I think what a lot of people are saying right now when they try to watch baseball.
I'm sick of this stuff.
Exactly. People are getting worked up. We got to go down the shore to Ocean City and try to behave and enjoy the summer. Now it's officially summer. Memorial Day's over. Get your whites out. Are you still allowed to wear whites now?
No, I think that's racist, Tony.
Yeah, it's racist. Yeah.
It's racist.
Can't do that.
I'm wearing black, see?
All
I'm wearing black because it's coming up. You know what tomorrow is? June 1st, and it's also the start of Pride Month.
That's right.
So I want you to get all your rainbow stuff all ready to go. And I'll go to the Rainbow Shop at Broad Street and the Broad and McKean. There's a Rainbow store there, which used to be a dollar store, and you go in there and get some good stuff.
For those watching on YouTube, Tony, what your shirt says what? No filter on it, because it's hard to.
Yes.
No filter. Nice.
Let me bring it all the way up.
Yeah, let's see if we can see that there.
No filter. Can you see that?
There
now?
we go. Nice.
Beautiful.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
There you go.
I walk around with this shirt, and everybody says, "Oh, I love that." They're available. I'll be selling those when you leave the studio today. When you leave, right there at right at the bridge, the Walnut Street Bridge.
Well,
or is that the Market Street Bridge there, right outside the studios
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
at WPHT?
You can actually update that shirt now. You can go with the front and says no filter, and on the back it can say no Twitter.
No Twitter. No Twitter for you. No Twitter for you.
Peter M on YouTube says we need a bottom third with Tony's running count on days banned on Twitter.
Oh,
so
No, that's easy to keep track of. Just remember now, I have to write it on the calendar. 73 days. 73, again. It's over. It's a final.
It's a final.
I don't know if you've seen the whole litany on Crossing Broad. Look it up. The headline is, "It's an outrage." And Kevin Kincaid breaks down all the correspondence between me, Robin, and Twitter. And they're basically copy and paste replies. Because I wrote a long explanation of, wait, what did I do? Tell me what I did. You're throwing me off. You said I'm permanently banned, but you're not giving me a reason. You're not citing specific instances of violent speech.
Yep.
That's all I want. This is like, we talk about the justice system and no representation and a crooked system. Twitter seems to be more crooked now that Elon Musk bought it than it was before when he had 1,000 people playing God. Now he's got 5 people in there playing God.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, LinkedIn locked out Vivek Ramaswamy for posting misinformation. I didn't even know you could post things like that on LinkedIn.
I didn't either. I didn't even know what LinkedIn was. I thought it was another dating app. I thought it was, LinkedIn. Hey, are we LinkedIn? Yeah. What's your sign, honey? You know what I'm saying?
Do you know the last tweet that actually got you suspended? Do you remember what it was about?
No, they haven't told him.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I've been suspended a couple of times, and you get that 12-hour thing, and then you have to delete the tweet that they find offensive, and then you see what the tweet is, because all these strappers are on there. And I love the word strapper, and I think it's coming back. It's a Philly thing. Strapper is one of those clean words that you can call somebody a strapper, and you know that they're a strapper, and it's not violent speech.
Now, is that different than a tucker?
No, that's not a tuck thing. Strapper is just a term,
Gotcha.
you're a whatever.
Yeah,
strapper. So strapper is a Philly term when you'd see like one of your friends, what a strapper.
Yeah.
So
Like a
it's
strapping?
one of those generic. No, it has nothing to do with strapping or straps or strap hangers. Strapper is just like,
It's
you're
an Italian thing, right?
Yeah, you're a
South Philly Italian.
Yeah. You're a dirtbag.
You're a jobber.
You're a crumb creep coward.
You are a lush, I can tell by looking at you.
And you're a lush, and you go to Ocean City, and then you cause trouble, and there's 999 of you, and then what happens? Everything goes to hell.
Kind of like this segment. Dude. All right, get out of here, you crumb bum. I'll see you, Bruno.
Good night, everybody.
There he is, Tony
Good
Bruno.
night.
Soon to be performing with a Fetterman near you.
Exactly.
There he is. Thanks, buddy. Are we done? I think that's it. Yeah.
I could hear him still laughing.
Yeah, he's still down there. He'll be laughing for the next 20 minutes. That's the way he operates. The great Tony Bruno, and that segment is brought to you by NTAG Philadelphia. With more than 150 professions to choose from, a career in the Navy can set you up for a lifetime of success. Earn up to $115,000. That's true, $115,000. We could all use that by joining today. Call 443-681-9880, 443-681-9880, or visit Navy.com. Big final hour is
Get away
on.
from me, you crumb.
There's a random.
You're a crumb creep. I'm telling you, get away from me. You're a crumb creep, lush coward.
Okay. Now, who's playing? Is that Stalker or
That's
Bruno?
me. No, it's me.
Oh, okay, I thought Bruno was still on the line
No,
somehow.
it's me.
All right, big 9 o'clock hours coming up. We'll get to Dawn's Big 3. Johns Hopkins is telling you which pronouns are appropriate to use. The New York Times does not think that Disney's reincarnation of The Little Mermaid was kinky enough.
What?
Yes. Yes, the New York Times and Disney.
You're going to have a hell of a story on that one.
Yeah, I know. It's a hell of a story for the Times. They don't even cover these kind of things anymore.
They don't.
So we'll get to all of that, the morning mystery movie clip. But right now, Dawn Stenzelin with a word for QC Kinetics.
Yeah, because this weather, today 81 degrees, beautiful weather, 91 by Friday. Time to get out, enjoy the season. The year's almost half over, and you're still dealing with that knee or hip pain. Enough's enough. And pills are not the answer. Surgery's not the answer. You need to call QC Kinetics and call them today. The advanced regenerative medicine solutions at QC Kinetics really do give you a life without chronic joint pain. Just think about that. You can do all those summer activities that you used to enjoy, that you know you love. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking these healing properties from your own body and then applying them right into your achy joints so that your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. This treatment is truly revolutionary, and it's right here in Philadelphia. Patients across America are having life-changing results, and there's no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. So if you're suffering with pain in your knees, your back, your shoulders, your hips, you need to stop what you're doing. Call QC Kinetics, get a free consultation, and learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine give you your life back. Call 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. QC Kinetics, just call them already, 215-999-3000.
You're invited to a private showing of the most important movie you'll see in retirement. The Baby Boomer Dilemma is a groundbreaking documentary from award-winning director Doug Orchard. Throughout the film, Nobel Prize winners, PhDs, and esteemed economists expose the cracks in the financial industry that have 401ks, IRAs, Social Security, and other retirement plans on the brink of collapse. After the movie, you'll receive an education that's unlike any other. Learn how to apply the solutions presented by these experts, which align with and validate our proprietary crash-proof retirement system, proven by over 5,000 consumers. Register for this complimentary screening at the William Penn Inn on June 6th and let Crash Proof Retirement provide you the crucial information you need to avoid the baby boomer dilemma that's on the horizon. Registration is required. Call 800-722-9728 or visit crashproofretirement.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you tired of paying too much? Rescue Natural Supplements are rolling back prices to 2013 on top of Memorial savings all month long. That's right. For the entire month of May, you can buy 2 products, get 1 free, or buy 3 products and get 2 free on every single Rescue supplement. Combine decade-old rolled back prices with free bottles for huge savings. Stock up on all your favorites. 1250 Omegas, cholesterol supporters, probiotic, and brand new health gummies are all on sale. To order, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a Rescue product consultant or shop online, res-q.com, res-q.com. Don't miss out on this opportunity to save big. Rescue is over 50 products to target your health goals, and everything is on sale. Rolled back prices and memorial deals start now and last through the end of the month. So go shop res-q.com today. That's res-q.com.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, Costco members have a $2,500 incentive on the purchase or lease of an electric Volvo. There is a $1,000 incentive on all gas and hybrid 2023 models. Explore this safe and versatile 2023 XC90 and take advantage of special financing, a rate of under 5%. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo for a full list of extraordinary offers for both new and previously owned Cherry Hill Volvos. Visit us now. We have the inventory and we have competitive offers.
Wells Fargo gives you access to direct deposit funds up to 2 days early.
Plus, if you look at the X and Y axes...
What if everything came 2 days early? Like the weekend.
Well, that was a pleasant surprise.
You can't get everything early, but when it comes to direct deposits, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getearly to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Not all direct deposits are eligible. Early availability is not guaranteed and may vary between deposits from the same payer. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Calling on Media PA to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Breakfast table in an otherwise empty room.
Welcome back in, Kayal Company 902 as we continue fourth and final hour live on this Wednesday morning, final day of May, here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick Kayal, Dawn Stenzel, Greg Stocker, Daniel Valdez, Anthony Dorenzo as we head till 10 o'clock this morning. You can get us on the free Odyssey app. You can watch us on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Morning mystery movie clip coming up at 9:20 this morning. What's on the cut sheet part 2? Who won Twitter today? And what's on tap for the Dawn Show? All still on the way. Appreciate Tony Bruno for his every other Wednesday appearance. Boy, he was fired up today.
He was.
It's like shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Which I like. Makes for good radio. So
yeah,
we appreciate that.
I don't want a low energy Bruno.
No.
You know what I mean? So
we got enough low energy in Florida with guys like Jeb Bush. We don't need low energy Bruno. And we got a lot of good stuff to get to as we continue this morning. The New York Times movie critic review of The Little Mermaid is out.
Oh, boy.
And apparently it's missing something that the left really seems to have this infatuation with. We'll give you the missing ingredient coming up in a little bit because my wife actually took my girls to see the Little Mermaid movie on Memorial Day.
With the Halle Berry one?
Yes, the new one that just came out because the weather was so bad in Nashville. I believe it was like 70 degrees and raining, and here it was, 81 and sunny.
Yep.
So they went to the movies on Memorial Day. So we'll get to that. That's from the New York Times. Also, Johns Hopkins and their medical staff has now given their employees the roadmap. And trust me, when I go through this, you're going to need a roadmap to stay with me here because this is going to make your head explode. A roadmap on how to use a dozen of different pronouns on their badges with their employee name.
Who's this?
This is Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins.
Johns Hopkins.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They always like to throw me off with the S on it. Johns. Why can't it just be called John Hopkins? You have to make it difficult. Johns Hopkins. So we'll get to that as we continue. And also a couple of other good stories that are on the funny side before we get out of here this morning. But before all of that, 9:05, it is a Wednesday morning, and it's time for Dawn Stenzel's final Big 3 at 9.
It's the Big 3 at 9 on Kayal Company.
Murder in the park. A Levittown woman is accused of killing her own husband at Bristol Borough's wharf there. Bucks County, 38-year-old Faisal Iqbal found dead in the grass in a parking lot near a park with gunshot injuries. A shocking story that's making international headlines. Levittown, Pennsylvania woman facing now these murder charges after police say she killed her husband. Horrified witnesses watching. This happened less than 24 hours. It happened 22 hours ago. So a beautiful day in the park. The sun was out, the grass freshly cut, and then witnesses describe seeing a woman going after, there was a loud argument that she shot her husband, according to witnesses, twice, and the torso stood over him, shooting him once again in the head. That was the horrifying witness calls, these 911 calls that went into police as they responded but could not save this man's life.
I mean, it's a public execution, especially the third one. You stand over him and then shoot him in the head?
I mean, that's what witnesses are describing.
Wow.
Unbelievable. We are sponsored this morning in Kayal Company Big 3 by LifeVac. Number 2, there is a big warning and this has gone out after a Philadelphia man has been arrested, and now there are all these safety alerts. So safety and security warnings going out for Facebook Marketplace users after these recent Philadelphia robberies. So, you know, the marketplace where you might want to buy a table, you might want to buy a chair.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this one, a Philadelphia man is now under arrest. Last night, he was arrested, accused of robbing multiple victims that he had met on Facebook Marketplace. You got to be careful.
My wife has actually used Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you guys have ever used it and if you've
to
had
sell
success
some
with
old
it.
kid stuff, like the old crib. We sold a crib and all kinds of other kid stuff.
So what, on the story, they put out, or he put out his information and said, hey, I have this for sale. People would come to pick it up and he would kill them?
So he
allegedly or whatever.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
So this is, by the way, an urgent warning from federal and local law enforcement, okay? But it's a Philadelphia case. And they're saying this is a dangerous situation. Montez Moore is charged with 11 counts of robbery and theft. So he was posing as somebody who worked for a bank. And to say that these are luxury goods, maybe that were confiscated in the foreclosure situation, that sort of thing. And they said, I work for a bank, and so we have all of these goods, Rolex watches, Cartier, Louis Vuitton bags, etc. And so they were sold for tens of thousands of dollars. Why? He would set up meetings for the transactions and instead rob people.
Yeah, you know,
that's the allegation.
It's kind of twofold, whether it's Facebook, what do they call it, Facebook Market?
Yep.
Marketplace.
Or, even with Craigslist, and I know Craigslist is more of a dated thing these days, but, not only do you have to worry about what you're buying and whether it's authentic and you're getting ripped off, but also your own personal and, well-being and security. Like, you meet up with people to get an item, or they come to your place. Like, people just, I think, are way too easily duped into giving out personal information. Like, I'm not giving you my address for you to come pick up like a bag of like old baby clothes that I just sold you for $20 or something.
I think a piece of this is that people want to sell things or buy things, but they want to avoid any taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it sounds too good to be true, you want to sell that whatever, Rolex, or, you're looking to get something and avoid the tax. Because Facebook, I guess, officially, they would technically, social media taxes you.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so this would this fall under the thing we talked about a couple of months ago with the PayPal?
This is what we need all those IRS agents for.
Yeah.
For cracking down on Facebook Marketplace.
Yes, the 85,628 new.
Did you buy $25 Bed Bath and Beyond chest from Joe Blow over here? Pay your taxes on that, buddy.
Yeah, you strapper.
Yeah, strapper.
And, well, speaking of strapping in Delaware County, a school bus driver is charged criminally and accused of duct taping a child into his seat. This is Delaware County, Pennsylvania, and the investigation started when police were called to Hillcrest Elementary School in Drexel Hill. So they had to cut this 10-year-old boy who, according to the DA, has Down syndrome. And he already has to wear some kind of a harness to hold him into the seat. The bus driver is accused of taping him, his ankles and his chest, even beyond what the official child safety seat would do.
I'm done with this.
And she admitted to authorities that she has done this before.
Yeah. Well, let's save the conversation for after the big three. But I have a couple of questions to ask about this story. We can expound upon it afterwards.
Well, there's no seatbelts on those buses, so actually that kid was probably the safest because if they crash, at least he was duct taped in.
Well, that's one of the issues.
I'm done with you.
Speaking of child safety and people's safety, we are sponsored by LifeVac.
Yeah.
Because every 5 days, a child actually dies of choking. More than 5,000 people die every year. LifeVac is the easiest, safest, most effective way to make sure this never happens to your loved ones. Just go to lifevac.net, lifevac.net, and then use the code NEWS at checkout so you save 20%. Thank you, LifeVac, for sponsoring our Big Three.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. I actually got a tweet earlier this morning with a picture of one of these harnesses. This was from Signs of Autumn, sent us this on Twitter, saying that the disability harness is a lifesaver on a bus. They are very expensive, plus have a special installation clasp for buses. It's like a roofer's safety harness, so kids won't jump up and get injured. It's more of a body vest, and it does look like that. I'll retweet it right now, and you can see it. It's the last thing I just posted on my timeline. But here's my question, and, obviously, I believe the kid was 10 years old, but the Down syndrome thing is certainly a variable that I wasn't factoring in. But let's remove the fact that the kid's Down syndrome, okay? So as a parent, if your 10-year-old kid, and let's say he was not or she was not special needs, got taped down by a bus driver, how would you respond? Because I sit here and you laugh at these stories, but I got to be honest, and if that was my kid, again, removing the Down syndrome element, if he was just, somebody that was not in any type of special needs situation, I would legit be ticked off. You can't tape somebody else's kid to a bus seat. And I know the Ohio story was funny because of the allergies of the bus driver, and she got tired of smelling the perfume or the cologne that was being sprayed. But, on a serious level, as a bus driver, if you're dealing with kids that have some sort of issue, and let's just say that he's just a bad kid, he's defiant, he doesn't listen, and you were able to tape him down. And imagine if you were that parent. You would show up at that school and you would raise holy hell. Am I wrong here?
You're not wrong. I'm sure the parents and caregivers are upset. I just don't know the circumstance. Did this lady... What was the motivation here? Somebody from the school was concerned. So what was going on here? Did the child know how to, this is a 10-year-old little boy, did the little boy get out of his harness? Mm-hmm. And then did the bus driver do this out of safety concern that he was getting up?
Oh, I never thought
and
about
falling?
that. Yeah.
Maybe, so I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, maybe something happened to the harness.
True.
And they had to
and he could
think
unhook
fast.
it or something.
Yeah. Is it a guy or a girl bus driver?
A female. It's a woman.
Yeah, a female bus driver.
It's a middle-aged woman.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's exactly what Dawn said.
Okay.
Then.
But the problem with this is they put out this woman's mugshot, her name, she's from Clifton Heights, and even the DA, Stolzheimer, said he didn't have all the details, but that the police, in other words, they were called. Mm-hmm. So this is a situation where they were called. I guess they had to use a police. Part of the problem was the tape. Mm-hmm. They had to use a seatbelt cutter,
right,
to cut.
Oh yeah,
the
this
tape.
kid was plastered down.
Yeah. So the bus driver says, I can't get him out of it. Yeah. And then they go, what? Why is this child? And then the bus driver says, yeah, and I've had to do this before. I don't know the context.
Yeah, and every Down syndrome child is different. Some of them are more functional, and it's more of a, just a slow learning disability. Others just can't operate or function in any aspect of life and need an adult or their parent with them all the time. I got to imagine, though, if he's on the school bus, that he's going to I would assume this is an elementary school at 10 years old, probably goes to a special needs class when he gets there, but he's probably riding on a bus with other kids, the full bus.
This is not bus,
not the smaller bus where usually that's the disabled kids get on.
That's what we're being told. But, Down syndrome kids are usually the sweetest
I know. They're
souls
great.
on earth.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily. So I've never known a Down syndrome kid to act out, but I don't know what to say about it. My only question on this is what happened here? And I think they're all asking a lot of questions, but the police, when they go there and they see this, and obviously there were some people who were upset and perhaps the parents complained, and that led to these charges.
Yeah, I remember towards the end of high school, they started having video surveillance on school buses. So I would just imagine now, almost 25 years later, that every school bus is under video surveillance. That would be my assumption. So I got to imagine that the video footage, assuming this bus was recording video, will pretty much paint the entire picture that we need to see. You got to imagine. And also, if this was not the first time, there's got to be a paper trail as well. There's got to be some documentation with the bus driver, whoever's in charge of the boarding of kids on the bus from school, whether that's a teacher, principal, guidance counselor. Because I remember when we were in school, there was always a handful of teachers at random different buses in the loading zone, just to make sure that there was, no shenanigans going on and no nonsense as you were getting on the bus to go home for the day. So very interesting story, to say the least. 855-839-1210, the phone number. So The Little Mermaid is not kinky enough for the New York Times. How about this story? So in the latest New York Times film critic review done by New York Times critic Wesley Morris, he wrote a positive review for the new Disney film, but faulted the movie for not having enough kink. Not enough kink in a kid's movie. Morris wrote in his review, the new live-action Little Mermaid is everything nobody should want in a movie. It's dutiful, it's defensive, it's desperate, and it's seeking approval. It reeks of obligation and noble intentions. Joy, fun, mystery, risk, flavor, and kink. They're all missing. Let me ask you something. And this is more than just the New York Times and just The Little Mermaid, which, by the way, my wife took my daughters to see that on Monday. So when I get off the show today, I'm going to FaceTime her and be like, hey, did you think The Little Mermaid was kinky enough? Was it like was she as hot as Ariel was in 1989 when we watched it on VHS? When I was a little 5-year-old, and I was like, man, I think it's Ariel. Like, man, she's hot.
It's funny because I don't have daughters. I've never seen The Little Mermaid.
Really?
No.
How about Beauty and the Beast?
No. Wait. As a boy growing up, you watched those movies.
Well, I had a sister, so I was,
Okay.
we both watched all these movies together.
Okay, you get a pass then.
Yeah.
But you didn't sit there and put on The Little Mermaid for me or put on Beauty and the Beast for me.
And actually, sometimes I would dress up as Ariel.
Do you identify as a mermaid, Nick Kale?
No. I identify as a dolphin.
I mean, it's true, though. There are certain Disney movies that are made for girls.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Peter Pan is kind of on the verge of being,
A lot of people said there's a
little
lot
fairy
of...
who flies around, isn't he, or something?
Yeah, a lot of gay overtones to Peter Pan.
It's a little...
Which, by the way, for years, people said the same thing about SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of articles written on that. I remember reading about them.
My son is just getting into SpongeBob right now, so I'm dreading the next...
I hate that Patrick.
Patrick. It is a catchy song, though, right? Maybe we can come back from break with a SpongeBob.
Yeah, no, we're not.
No? Okay.
But Beauty and the Beast, that's a chick Disney film, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
But I would argue most Disney movies are, right? For the most part.
Most.
I mean, there's not a lot of bravado in Disney movies.
No, there doesn't need to be bravado, but I don't know. Is Dumbo? Yeah, Dumbo's a little.
Yeah.
Bambi.
Yeah, actually, there aren't many. That's a good point.
Yeah. Yep. But the New York Times said it wasn't kinky enough. So if you're out there and you're a mom or a dad and you've got a daughter or maybe a son who identifies as a mermaid and you want to take them to see The Little Mermaid, just be prepared. There's not going to be enough kink in it for most people.
Wow.
So figured we would share that. We'll save the Johns Hopkins story for the other side because it's 9:20 and it's time for the morning mystery movie clip. Oh no!
Uh-oh.
Did our machine crash?
Whoa! Whoa! Everybody,
let's see if we can figure this out.
Here we go.
There we go.
And now, the morning mystery movie clip on Kayal Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
FBI! Come out of the bathroom! Step out of the bathroom! Hands on your head.
Oh, that's the new IBM Selectric.
Put your hands on your
Change
head.
the print type in 5 seconds.
Shut up!
Pop out the ball.
Put your hands on your head! Put your hands!
You know, he's got over 200 checks here.
Hands
of Indy
on
Inc,
your head!
Drafting. He even has little payroll envelopes
Put it down.
addressed to himself. From
Put it down. Drop it!
Relax.
Think you know what it is? Be call at 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
Oh, how about this? A 4-pack of tickets to see the Reading Phillies take on the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. How about that for a minor league name? The Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
The Rumble Ponies?
The Rumble Ponies, yes.
Now stepping to bat for the Rumble Ponies.
We're going to play the BRPs this week. You get a 4-pack of tickets to see the Phillies and the Ponies on Saturday, June 10th at First Energy Stadium in Reading, Pennsylvania. Call it 855-839-1210. If you can identify that movie clip, which came out 10 years ago today. Back after this, Kayal Company.
Comedian Joe Conklin.
Joel as Mr. Softy.
A creamy, streamy, soft ice cream. It comes from Mr. Softy. Melts in a big spot like me. They call me Mr. Softy. Almost run out of breath. Ice cream makes me tired.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra, July 15th in Ocean City, New Jersey, and July 22nd in North Wildwood. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Lexus of Cherry Hill, a 5-time J.D. Power dealer of excellence for customer service. The 2023 Lexus models are here and moving fast, and the 2023 Lexus RZ 450e all electric has arrived. Tony LaBelle and his team are your source for the Lexus of your dreams. Over 200 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock. You deserve this Lexus, and you deserve award-winning customer service. Start your journey with family-owned and operated Lexus of Cherry Hill.
For J.D. Power dealer of excellence information, visit jdpower.com/US-DOE.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Father's Day is right around the corner. And listen, as a dad, I can tell you this. We don't want ties. We don't want sweaters. We want steaks. That's right. Delicious steaks from Omaha Steaks. I get this for my dad every year, and he loves it. And right now, when you use my name, Zioli, at checkout, you're going to get $30 off your qualifying order at omahasteaks.com. You can choose from a variety of mouth-watering packages that include pork, tender, bacon-wrapped filet mignons, or other gourmet, wonderful foods like air-chilled boneless chicken breasts, burgers, jumbo franks, and many more favorites. And don't forget to save room for dessert. Most gift packages come with 4 delicious caramel apple tartlets. So just go to omahasteaks.com, use code ZIOLI at checkout, and get $30 off an unforgettable gift that is guaranteed to make Dad's day. Because if there's one thing we know, it's that dads want steak. omahasteaks.com, promo code ZIOLI at checkout. Minimum order is required. See site for details.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or Home Depot. There are over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
.25, Kayal Company, as we continue. It's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app. You can watch us on YouTube. Woohoo! Well, you might not be able to see me because my lights in the studio
What
just
happened? Oh, no!
Oh, no, the Undertaker's here.
Oh, my God.
This could be it for your boy.
Oh, boy.
Yep, studio's gone dark. I actually kind of like that. With the daylight coming into the natural sunlight.
Actually, to be honest, I'm watching you right now on YouTube.
I look better?
Actually, the light, the less light in there looks better because it doesn't reflect off your dome.
Ah. Okay. Well, Dawn, I'm going to need the powder kit.
Yeah, we got to do the powder.
We're going to powder my head.
I thought you were about to ask Greg, does my butt look big?
Oh, my God, Becky.
It's
got one of those rappers' butts.
I like it with the dark in there, but
yeah,
I don't know.
You like it dark? Okay, good for you, buddy. I'm more of a white meat guy myself, breasts. But if you like dark meat and the thighs, go right ahead.
Excuse me.
Which, by the way, I've always been criticized for that because I think most guys prefer dark meat chicken.
Yep.
Yeah, and I prefer the breast. I prefer the white meat, and I've always been ridiculed for that. Like, oh, dude, the thighs and the way it's all juicier. I'm like, yeah, I know it's a little juicier, but
no, the white meat's the best.
I agree. All right, let's see if we've got our morning mystery movie clip winner. We have Steve in New Jersey. Steve, good morning. What was the movie clip we played for you just a couple of minutes ago?
Catch Me If You Can.
That is correct.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Woo. Tom Hanks as well, 2013. Congratulations. You got your 4-pack of tickets to see the Reading Phillies against the Ponies on Saturday, June 10th.
Well, thank you very much.
You got it, and we appreciate you listening and playing, Steve. So you'll be seeing the Binghamton Rubber Ponies or something, whatever they're called. Doesn't matter. You're going to see the Reading Phillies, and you're rooting for the home team. That's the way it works.
Rumble Ponies.
Yeah, the Rumble Ponies. Yeah.
What did you say, the rubber?
The Rubber Ponies.
The Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. You know, you get the minor league baseball pack. I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, it's cheap. It's affordable. They don't crush you on parking and concessions. It's one of these things you can do with the family where it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
You try going to a pro sporting event these days with a family. It's like taking a summer vacation from a financial standpoint. Like, what do you want to do this year, kids? You want to go to a Sixers game, or would you rather go to the Jersey Shore for 5 days? I'd rather go to the Jersey Shore, Dad. Yeah, we'll probably get more bang for our buck that way. All right, quick break. We'll come back, and then we will get to a couple of these stories. I've got 2 stories that are just, I think, hysterical when it comes to being a guy, and it revolves around a stick of deodorant.
Oh, no.
And sitting down to use the facilities. Very interesting study that I think all men should be aware of.
Wait, hang on.
Yes.
Using deodorant and sitting down. It's like using deodorant and using and sitting down to use the facilities.
Yeah, 2 different stories.
Okay.
Both with men, and both involves the rectum.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Where they're put.
Yeah.
Where they're.
Wait. Hang on.
Yeah. We're going to get to the details. Yeah.
We have to be careful of how we say this, though.
Oh, we do?
Well, you can't reference sticking things.
It rubs the lotion on its skin.
Yeah. You can't reference sticking things in certain places.
So.
Okay. Well, I can't say like can on the keister.
Well, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting.
You definitely should sit through this commercial break.
Yeah.
To hear how we frame this.
Sit through. Well played. All right, we're back after this. Kayal Company, stay there.
Hi, this is Norman the Floorman from Norman Carpet. I went to see a psychic. When I knocked on the door, she said, "Who is it?" So I left. No kidding, folks. If you're responsible for buying carpet for your company or organization, you need to call me now. I stock the largest selection of commercial carpet in the Delaware Valley. And yes, we can install within 48 hours. Call 800-220-RUGS. Call Norman the Floorman to save 50% off our competitor's best price. Now that's not chopped liver.
Your new kitchen appliances look stunning.
Thanks. We had a blast shopping for them at National Appliance Warehouse. There's over 100 brands in their huge showroom. The best part was knowing everything was at the best price.
You must have done a ton of research.
Oh, we didn't need to. They use a cutting-edge technology called Price Assure. It searches prices online and updates electronic Price Assure tags in real time to make sure theirs is the lowest.
Lower than the big box stores.
Especially them, with much better service, too. And they do it all. Delivery, installation, everything.
National Appliance Warehouse in Wilmington.
Yes, they may not be the closest, but they'll make your wallet the happiest.
There's still time. The Memorial Day Mega Sale is extended at National Appliance Warehouse. Save on LG. Get a deluxe stainless steel kitchen suite with French door refrigerator from LG, regularly $43.43 for only $21.99.88 after rebate. That's a budget saving $2,143.12. An incredible package. Preview the savings at nationalappliancewarehouse.com or visit their easily accessible showroom on 202 in tax-free Wilmington.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you tired of paying too much? Rescue Natural Supplements are rolling back prices to 2013 on top of Memorial savings all month long. That's right. For the entire month of May, you can buy 2 products, get 1 free, or buy 3 products and get 2 free on every single Rescue supplement. Combine decade-old rolled back prices with free bottles for huge savings. Stock up on all your favorites. 1250 Omegas, cholesterol supporters, probiotic, and brand new health gummies are all on sale. To order, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a Rescue product consultant or shop online, res-q.com, res-q.com. Don't miss out on this opportunity to save big. Rescue is over 50 products to target your health goals, and everything is on sale. Rolled back prices and memorial deals start now and last through the end of the month. So go shop res-q.com today. That's res-q.com.
Phillies baseball is in full swing.
It's a 3-run home run for Alec Bohm.
And a 6 RBI night.
With the free Odyssey app, local fans can listen live all summer long, whether you're at the grill or at the pool.
The ball bobbled. The Phillies win. Bryson Stott has won it.
Phillies baseball. Phillies announcers. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Drive in with Kayal Company mornings 6 till 10. Drive home with Rich Zioli afternoons 3 till 7. Live and local on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
You show us everything you got.
9:34. Kayal Company as we continue this Wednesday morning, just about 5 minutes out from What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2, What's on Tap for the Dawn Show, and Who Won Twitter today. But 2 quick stories here in 5 minutes that I think every man should listen to. One is very informative for the health of the men in this audience, and the second one just goes to show how desperate we can be at times. Let's do the healthy one first. So, men, you should be sitting down when you pee.
What?
That is correct. According to scientists, men are much healthier and will live a longer, healthier life if when you go to do number one, you sit instead of standing.
Okay.
Okay? So let me give you a couple of details here. This is according to data from YouGov, which we've cited many times on this show. Apparently, only 24% of British men sit down to urinate, which I actually find astounding because I would be like stunned if more than 1% of men in America actually sit down when they, do a number one.
Yeah.
Which is, I didn't know was really a thing. I thought, you just kind of, you stand up, you post up, you set up shop, and you do your business. Whether that's in a stall or at a urinal, men stand. But according to this, there's a couple of different things we need to know here. Number one, so YouGov conducted a 13-country study on men's preferences.
This is fascinating.
Internationally, and it turns out that only 24% of British men regularly partake in a sit-down session. Now, according to YouGov, British men are amongst the least likely to sit for a session, with 33% saying they never do so. Now, sitting down apparently is a better option for men with prostate conditions or men who just can't stand up for a long time. Here's a quote from one of the scientists here.
Yeah.
A lot of guys sit down to pee if they can't fully evacuate their bladder because the science behind it says when you sit down, you can use your abdominal muscles more and get your last few drops of urine out of your system.
Okay.
And you'll feel emptied and you'll be better off for the long haul.
But this brings us to something that women especially know, the bonus bathroom break. So what if, I would just say, if you're, I never really thought about this before, but you're making me think of it, that if men sit down more, they might get the little bonus.
Okay. I like where you're going.
As far as you were saying, empty things out, what about the, emptying out everything?
Okay.
So you might get the little bonus nugget.
Oh, yeah.
It's the second time
we talked about nuggets.
It's the second time we used nuggets today.
I understand what you're saying.
There you go.
Because, it could.
Little Tootsie Roll.
Yeah. Oh.
Little bonus.
Yeah.
My brother, we had this little poodle named Peppy, and my brother would take
Peppy
Tootsie.
the poodle.
Yeah. Among the rescue dogs that we had, every animal. And my brother would take Tootsie Rolls and kind of like make it look like, and then he put it on to make my mom crazy. Like, go, look, Ma.
Yeah.
All over the carpet.
All right, so I'm fascinated by this.
Yes.
So just a few YouTube comments here, by the way, streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. Mangalamo says, confession, I sit to pee. It's because
okay.
I'm too lazy to clean the seat. Peter S.
How about you just lift the seat and lift the lid up, and then you won't get it on
Well,
there?
you still get a little splashing.
No, every now
Peter S. said, I heard it was better for the prostate to sit.
Well, scientific research backs this up. In 2014, researchers from the Department of Urology at Leiden University Medical Center discovered that sitting down to pee allows men to empty their bladders faster and more effectively. Another pro of a sit-down pee is that you don't have to worry about getting urine on the floor.
Digital Lava says, I have prostate issues, and my urologist told me to sit.
Yeah.
All right, full confessional here, because I'm fascinated, because aside from Dawn, there's 3 guys in the back here. Is there anybody who wants to admit right now to sitting while they pee? Anthony, do you sit while you pee?
He should sit.
Oh, yeah.
I have.
Well, he's got
I
crutches,
don't
so he
regularly.
has to.
Wait. Say that again?
I have done it. I don't regularly.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think most men do it regularly. If you're already sitting down for something else, doing a number 2, and you got to do a number 1, you just,
Well, it usually comes.
Yeah, you get basically a
two
buy
for
one
the
get one.
two for the price of one.
Yeah, you get a BOGO potty.
Exactly.
The bonus.
Yeah.
Daniel Valdez, do you sit to pee?
Only when I know I have to take a number 2.
Only after watching his beloved Dallas Cowboys.
Is Sean still back there with you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, he left.
All right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Sean heard we were talking about urine. He's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. That's what I'm doing. All right, so that's that story. And then lastly, this is from the New York Post. A grown man had to be rushed into emergency surgery after he got a can of spray deodorant stuck in his keister.
What?
Yes. An unidentified 30-year-old male required medical assistance 2 hours after inserting a deodorant canister into his rectum, according to a cringe case study published by the Visual Journal of Emergency Surgery. This man was of Iranian descent, and he was experiencing acute abdominal pain. And after further review, there was an FB in his rectum, which is short for a foreign body, which is a medical term in the medical community. And he was experiencing symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, rectal bleeding, or abnormal bowel movements. And he had to be x-rayed and then was sent into emergency surgery to have the can of Right Guard removed from his rump.
Okay.
How about that?
I know somebody, Dawn knows this person too, who might be an emergency room doctor and might have told me all kinds of things that he's seen and had to have removed from people's backside.
That's correct.
So, yeah.
I mean, I guess in the worst case scenario, though, at least you're what's not going to stink. I mean,
well, there's right. I mean, maybe it was just spray.
Yeah, there's the benefit of everything. So
I just wanted to keep it clean.
There you go.
By the way, that study about men sitting down to pee, by the way, is a BS study. I think this is big science trying to feminize men.
Oh, you think so? You got a theory on this, huh?
It's there's nothing more manly than standing up, unzipping your fly, and letting nature take its course.
I mean, what do the members of the trans community what does Dylan Mulvaney do? Does Dylan sit or stand?
So that's a great.
See,
Nick,
there's a lot of nuance.
Nick, you've just hit on something there, my friend. You're a genius.
Is Dylan a identifying sitter?
We don't want to offend the trans community. By us men standing to pee, so it's okay, because men should actually sit to pee.
Yeah.
It's not right.
And speaking of this, by the way, I have a big issue with male dogs that when they pee, they don't lift their leg. Some dogs are squatters. Others lift their leg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe if they're neutered.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've seen
Greg's point.
Okay.
They're trying to neuter all of you.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's one of the last great bastions of being a man is to sit there, stand up,
the last
put your hand on your hip, spread your legs a little bit, and just let it all hang out. Right?
Anyway,
that's what I'm talking about. I did it, but by the way, we were stuck in traffic on the way to the Poconos on Saturday morning, and because they had a big air show up there, and look, nature called. I had to go.
Highway.
So I pulled over to the side of the road, ran up into the wooded area, and
did your thing.
Did my thing. You know what I mean? And it was like, it feels so good. And my wife had to pee as well, and she was like, she was like, I hate that you're a guy because I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's right. You were born with as the wrong gender.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. You want a good roadside story for you real quick before we get to the cut sheet?
Yeah.
So years ago, this was 2001, I think it was like junior in high school. This was back when playing paintball was a very popular thing to do if you were a guy for a weekend activity. So me and my boys went up to the Poconos and we played at this paintball event where they have all these courses and the whole bit. So I had to use the bathroom and we were on Route 80. So me and my two buddies pulled over. I get out and I used a roadside porta potty next to a construction spot on Route 80. And the door to the porta potty was facing oncoming traffic. So I go in there to use the bathroom. And my boys ran up to me and yanked open the porta potty door. And I'm sitting there on the can watching traffic come by and people see me sitting there. And
hysterical.
I couldn't get up to close the door.
Hysterical.
My boys were crying from laughing so hysterically.
That is hysterical.
I hate them to this day for that. All right, 9:43. Let's get to What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2.
What's on the Cut Sheet?
Part 2. Trying to feminize men. I stand by my statement.
Yep.
What's the Country Bar News? Sponsored by the Philadelphia 100. Calling all entrepreneurs, distinguish your company as one of the fastest growing in the region by applying for the 2023 Philadelphia 100 Award. Take the first step in joining the elite group of businesses. Apply today at philly100.org. That's philly100.org. Thank you, Philly 100, for sponsoring the ever-important Wednesday edition of What's on the Cut Sheet Part Due. We talked about this a little bit last week, Nick and Dawn, about work requirements for people who are on welfare, right? Or who are taking assistance from the government, right? That's part of the debt ceiling discussion. Ashley Allison was on CNN, and she's claiming that work requirements are offensive to poor people. Did you guys know that? They're offensive.
Work requirements.
Work requirements are offensive to poor people. What? Try this. Oh, boy. One day I will get this thing to work properly. Today is not that day.
Yep.
Hang on. Here we go.
What do you think? A lot of progressives feel like they got sold down the river. What do you think?
Well, I think it's important to note that also Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, all staying safe, not being touched at all. I think the Republicans' obsession with work requirements are offensive to poor people, assuming that people want to be poor and don't have the fight inside of them to work hard. It's offensive, and I think it will ultimately come a backlash. But I think the way that they were able to negotiate and protect veterans, people who are homeless, is really important. I also think, though, is Kevin McCarthy going to be able to get it done in his caucus? I mean, we were all sitting here at 2 a.m. in the morning seeing if he can get speaker votes, and we weren't sure what concessions he made. And so can he hold his caucus together, or is he going to have to rely on Democrats yet again so that our country doesn't default?
So what exactly is her definition of work requirements? Is she saying that it's offensive to force somebody to work?
No, it's yes. Yes.
Because I'm trying to understand this stupid logic.
Well, they're basically saying that it's offensive to put work requirements on people like this because you're assuming that they're just on it to, milk the government or bilk the government again. They don't actually want to work.
That's what they are doing. Yes. What's the other What is the other? What could possibly be the other motive?
I don't know.
What's her name? Ashley Allison?
Yes.
Another one with two first names. Okay.
Yeah, but think about it. The requirement to have to show that you're trying to get a job. Empowers you to go, it requires you so you can call people and say, I'm required and I'm looking for work. It forces you to get out there and apply, and everybody has to do that.
Yes.
No matter who you are, every walk of life, whether yesterday you made a ton of money or not so much money, everybody's required. So how could it be aimed at one group of people?
No.
If it's required for everybody.
That's correct.
James Comey is shopping a book. So he is on it's one of those Fugazi non-fiction books or whatever. Did I say that properly? It's not a book about his life. Is that nonfiction or fiction? I should know.
If it is about his life, it would be nonfiction.
Okay, so it's anyway, it doesn't matter. He says, because he's trotting this out, so all the shows want to have him on, so they can ask him about the Durham report that came out a couple of weeks ago. He says this morning on CNN, the morning show, that he has no regrets on how he handled the Russia probe.
So John Durham released his report, a years-long report, just days ago, and he will testify before the House Judiciary Committee on June 21st. That's 3 weeks from today. This was about, under your purview, the Trump probe vis-a-vis Russia during the 2016 election. His analysis is, and it's different than the Inspector General's analysis, by the way, but his conclusion was the FBI never should have launched a full probe of Trump and Russia. And he said that the FBI used raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated intelligence, and essentially a different standard than they used with Hillary Clinton. Do you have any regrets about how you and the team handled that investigation?
No. And there's nothing new in his report
about
arrogance. The FBI. He thinks it ought to have been a prelim investigation, not a full, and the differences would be boring to your listeners and your viewers. He agrees that the FBI had to examine this and open an investigation.
But not to the extent it did. And he says that there were different standards used in terms of the probe on Trump and Russia and Hillary Clinton. Yeah. You said on a different network in a recent interview that there are some things you wish you did differently. What are they?
Oh, plenty of different things, from small things to large things. In announcements I made, I don't like the way in which I put things in order. I wish I had entered the encryption debate in a different way. When you look back at a career, you can always find things. But I think the FBI had to open that Russia investigation. People forget, Republicans, we weren't investigating Donald Trump. We were trying to find out if anybody in his world was working with the Russians. Had to do that investigation and did it in a professional way.
What we see now, looking at...
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what the Durham report says. The Durham report says it was unethical and that it was not professional.
Yep.
And that they were ultimately lying. The evidence showed they were lying to the actual investigators.
Yep.
And keeping evidence from them.
And you wonder why people want to dissolve the FBI? Right there, arrogance example number 1.
That's what we got.
All right, that'll do it. Cut sheet part due in the books. Do we want to find out what's on tap for the Dawn Show? Let's find out what's coming up at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think we have so many different police engagement situations, especially with the youths, with the teens in the city. So we'll check in with our friend, Sergeant Mark Fuzzetti.
Love Mark.
Sergeant Mark Fu. We follow him on Twitter. So we'll check in with him and talk about everything that's going on, including the latest jail sentence for a woman from Pennsylvania. So we'll talk about that. She was part of January 6th, a lengthy jail sentence, and there is a lot of debate online as to whether she deserved this lengthy jail term. We'll talk about her and so many other issues, including in New Jersey, some school districts dealing with what Bucks County has been dealing with regard to the law in New Jersey saying parents don't have a right to know the pronouns. However, in one town, they've received an injunction. And this right as there are new opinion polls that are lowering the popularity of one New Jersey governor, Phil Murphy.
Uh-oh.
Talk about all that coming up.
Dawn Show coming up in just about 8 minutes here on this Wednesday morning as we wrap up another show with Who Won Twitter today.
Who won Twitter?
Richard Attaro wins Twitter. He says, Nick, it's better to be strapped in than being strapped on.
Whoa.
That's nice work out of Dick.
The, oh my God.
Yeah, Richard's one of my favorite Twitter guys.
He is.
Yeah,
he is. Plus, he has a Bob Dylan avatar on his Twitter. So I think Richard and I would get along swimmingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Richard Nataro wins Twitter on this Wednesday.
Okay, that'll do it for us here on this Wednesday morning. We will be back tomorrow, Thursday at 6 o'clock. Stay tuned. The Dawn Show is coming up next, and we will do it all over again tomorrow morning for the first day of June.
I can't believe it's the first day of June already.
I know. I can't wait to, 91 Dawn on Friday?
Yeah.
So, summer's here. Let's go. Let's have some fun.
Eating up. Just in time for Pride Month.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Just in time for Pride Month. All right. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will see you tomorrow.